Okay guys, we are live again, and actually now that I'm streaming, I'm kind of worried that I misspelled Mutahar's name. Okay, I think I got it right. Mutahar. Okay, so listen, we need to cover part 2 of the Ethan Klein versus Noah Samsen saga. So we have a lot of stuff to do, but I just wanted to give a quick coverage to issues that are really more pressing than Ethan Klein, but they should inform how we interact with Ethan Klein's content. So this is a video. Hey, what's up, Melissa? First chatter of the stream. Awesome to have you here. So I wanted to cover this video. This is something that I just recently saw when I was like scrolling through social media. Window smashed, dragged from her car. ICE's violent arrest of Salvadoran woman Elsie Rios. Muda is a jump scare. Goddamn. Is he a? I don't know. Okay, so let's just play this video, guys.
Pero por qué, dígame por qué y deme la orden. Deme la.
Actually, let's read a bit of a description. A video of an immigrant being arrested by agents of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement has circulated on social networks. The migrant, according to some media and journalists who have taken up the footage, is a Salvadoran living in Maryland who would have been intervened in her vehicle. Who would have been intervened in her vehicle while she was on her way to work with a relative of hers who seems to be her daughter. Tell me why they are detaining her, and give me the order. The immigrant identified as Elsie Rios asked the two immigration officers who interrogate her from outside the car. I'm not going to give you the order, the agent replies. Faced with refusal, Rios said that she would not get out of her car without seeing the order, after which the other masked element burst the glass of the door to open the car from the inside. Don't worry, Karen, don't worry, talk to Ulysses, the woman calmly says to her relative. So anyway, basically, ICE agents just come up and they're like, we're not going to give you the order, but you're going to have to come with us. And let's just
Deme la
this.
orden. No, pues no me voy a bajar.
Entonces le tiene que...
Si no me baja, si no,
No,
me,
you
no,
know.
ahí deja que lo revienten.
No,
ahí
if it's against... No!
So when they are asked, what is your legal jurisdiction, what is your legal purpose for detaining me, they're like, we're not going to tell you. A guy in a mask comes, breaks open the car window, unlocks the car, and they basically drag her out of the vehicle.
You guys cannot take her! Just because you guys
No
want
te preocupes, Karen, no te preocupes. Tranquilo.
fucked up!
Tranquila, mamá.
You guys are fucked up! For
Háblale
this.
a Ulises.
You act like you wouldn't have fucking kids!
No te preocupes, mamá. Todo va a estar bien.
Tenga cuidado, tenga cuidado.
Gracias.
Espérese, señor.
He is such a kind gentleman, helping shake the glass off of her dress from her car window that his masked friend just busted.
Ponga el carro en parking.
Está parqueado.
Ok, déle el teléfono a su hija para poder sacarla sin que, porque hay vidrio por todos lados.
No, yo voy a llevar mi teléfono.
Ok,
No, no se
está bien,
preocupe.
tenga cuidado, despacio,
No,
despacio.
no se
despacio.
preocupe. Si me giro es su culpa.
Wait!
Espera.
Don't grab her!
And yeah, you might expect that he gives her the decency of treating her like a human being, but as soon as she's out of the car, he grabs her arm, presses her up against the car, forces her hands behind her back, and handcuffs her. So yes, you do not have any kind of human dignity. But we shouldn't be surprised. Republicans do not care about human well-being at all. And then especially when it comes to immigrants and non-white people in general.
Don't grab her like that!
Yo voy bien.
Don't grab her!
Karen, llamarle a Ulises y se mueve en el carro.
Oh my god!
And guys, I just want to get this point across. This is not an issue of immigration. Because if it was an issue of immigration, we would change people's documentation statuses and we wouldn't be sending people literally wearing masks that are functioning extrajudicially without any actual court orders to blackbag people and just abduct them from their everyday lives. This is not an immigration issue. What this is a crackdown on people's freedoms, and it is really Donald Trump flexing he's flexing his fascistic power over the American people and seeing how far he can really push it.
Oíste, no te preocupes, mi amor. Yo estoy
Mami,
bien.
ellos no pueden
no,
hacer
no me importa si me
eso.
mandan, Karen. Estoy
Mami,
bien.
no.
Permítame, no le voy a ir conmigo.
Mami, no, mami.
Mi mamá, ¿por qué la llevaron?
Porque no tiene papeles.
Sí, ella tiene proceso, tiene su abogado.
Ok.
¿Pero tenías alguna orden?
Sí.
¿Puedo verla?
No, no te lo voy a enseñar.
¿Por qué no puedo?
Porque no te lo voy a enseñar.
Okay, so yeah, obviously horrible, and as you said, who said it? Mildly dazed. I miss when this was a shocking thing to hear about, but now it's just a Thursday. America's so fucking cooked. Yeah, exactly. So if you live in a blue state, you really need to contact your local leaders, your statewide leaders, your governor, and plead with them to take a stand against this horrible crackdown on people's fundamental rights. This is another thing that I need to talk about, which goes hand in hand in this. This is simply like a multi-pronged attack on people, and they're using the tool of immigration to really attack people that the Trump administration disagrees with, and they're targeting multiple different things. And this is extremely relevant to what we're going to be talking about today, which is Ethan Klein and Mutahar going after Noah Samsen. And we have here Marco Rubio, who I think Marco Rubio like the Secretary of State? Secretary of State, yeah, Marco Rubio. He orders diplomats to search social media accounts of student visa applicants. And so he says, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has issued an order to use diplomats stationed abroad to search through the social media accounts of those applying for student and other kind of visas to come to the U.S. That's great. So when we're talking about streamlining the United States government and getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, we're now going to have our diplomats be doing homework of looking at student applicants or other people applying for visas to come to the U.S. Yeah, because I'm sure they have nothing better to do with their time. The effort to stop anyone suspected of criticizing the U.S. or Israel comes as the Trump administration is stepping up its efforts to detain and deport students already in the U.S. who have been found to have taken part in protests against the war in Gaza. So let's just really make this clear. This is not about crimes. This is about your political views and your criticism of Trump. Because obviously you can criticize the United States as long as it's a Democrat's part of the United States or Israel. And let's play this really quick.
Let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot.
Okay, so did you catch his language
That are
there?
involved in
He
doing
says, if you come to the United States and you participate in movements that are involved in doing things, and then he lists off some things that you can actually be tried for and found like criminally involved. So vandalism, taking over buildings, causing a ruckus, whatever that means. But the very idea that you aren't doing these crimes, like you aren't actually being charged with a crime here. What you're being charged with is having political beliefs that are part of this movement to talk that Marco Rubio disagrees with. And this also kind of leads me into this next point where, like, the United States is still firmly on the side of funding Israel. U.S. Senate overwhelmingly votes down Sanders' motions to block arms sales to Israel. Minority of Democrats voting in favor falls from 19 to 15 since November, with Ossoff flipping to no as he readies for a re-election fight next year. Freshman Kim a more surprising yes vote. The U.S. Senate on Thursday overwhelmingly rejected a pair of resolutions by progressive Senator Bernie Sanders aimed at blocking the transfer of weapons to Israel, with the minority of Democrats voting in favor, falling since the last time such an initiative was advanced several months ago. So, 15 Democrats voted in favor of 2 resolutions blocking the sale of $8.8 billion in bombs and munitions to Israel. When Sanders brought similar resolutions before the Senate in November 2024, 19 Democrats voted in favor of them. So who are the Democrats? The other 14 Democrats who voted in favor of blocking weapons were Mazie Hirono, Ben Ray Lujan, Bernie Sanders, Chris Van Hollen, Jeff Merkley, Ed Markey, Tim Kaine, Elizabeth Warren, Martin Heinrich, Brian Schatz, Tina Smith, Dick Durbin, Peter Welch, and Chris Murphy. We only had 15 Democratic senators voting to block arms sales to Israel. And there's no coincidence that these are the senators that are most against this Trump administration and are speaking out the most against this kind of crackdown in terms of freedom of speech and going after students who are simply taking part in protests, simply posting on social media. So, what we're trying to illustrate today is that America is in a very dark place. America is supporting a genocide, and as the opposition grows to that genocide, instead of listening to people that are resisting the genocide and being like, okay, maybe we won't be so bloodthirsty in our foreign policy actions, America has instead gone into a different route and decided to just suppress any kind of dissent that they can possibly find in favor of continuing this genocide. This is a bipartisan issue. Both the Democrats and the Republicans support selling weapons to Israel. Both the Democrats and the Republicans are turning a blind eye to Trump cracking down on people's protesting against Israel. And at the end of the day, this is a bipartisan issue, and you need to know where your senator, where your representatives fall on these issues so that you can hold them to account, either by calling them every single day and yelling at them and voting against them when they're up next for re-election. Okay. So let's get into this. Ethan Klein is suing Hassan. Oh my god. Bro. This shit is so wild. Okay, let's check it out. Page 3 podcast. Ugh. I was listening to some of this today. It's so bad.
Some accountability
isn't real. It would hurt their pocketbooks to vote against it. It's just that Democrats do get money from AIPAC, and they definitely do get money from AIPAC. But at the end of the day, supporting Israel is the same as supporting capital, because there is so much capital tied up in sending weapons to Israel. That is a major money-making machine. And even if Democrats aren't necessarily getting paid with like billions and billions of dollars, the fact that they're not going against the grain makes it that much easier for them to get reelected, and it makes their positions in Washington that much smoother, more lubricated, where they're fitting in with all of the different parts of Washington. So yeah, it's like you are pushing against the norm of the country if you even vote to block weapon sales to Israel. Okay, so I was listening to this, and I do want to rewind this. So I was like really tired yesterday when I was covering this. I'm just going to read this letter. So a bit of background. Noah Samsen. You know what? Let's watch Noah Samsen's video. Let's watch Noah Samsen's video. Because I'm kind of interested. I'm interested to see the parts where he talks about Mutahar. YouTubers who back to genocide.
If you like my videos and
Alright, we are going to Control F on the transcript. Control F. Food. Some ordinary. Alright, this transcript shit isn't working. Scrolling until we find Mutahar's face. Mutahar. Where are the clips of Mutahar they used? Oh yeah, there's the atrocity porn that Dan was so mad that Noah included in his video. Okay, do we have more stuff? So that's the content nuke. I was kind of surprised about this video. Like, it wasn't that much about these YouTubers. It was more about... Oh, is this it? Where he talks about Asmongold?
Fry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. They come from an inferior culture. I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry.
the goal of this campaign was to get him fired from the company. This site also hosts all of these clips with their associated allegations: anti-Semitism, terrorist promotion, and rape denial. Eventually, several major YouTubers in the usually apolitical commentary sphere made videos that signal boosted these allegations to millions of viewers. Most of these videos used the same clips, many of them directly citing this smear campaign's website.
There's a website known as danclancysucks.com.
Or there's also a website that's been created called danclancysucks.com that goes over it all.
Another website, Advertise on Twitch, shows a collection of ads playing before the dishonestly framed clips we've looked at, and the contact information of the companies is provided. It auto-loads a preset email with just one click, allowing participants in the campaign to mass spam these companies with the related smears. There were several motivations behind this campaign. There were direct material incentives. On YouTube for the past few years, there's a big industry that's exploded in popularity, and it's based on a simple concept. Hassan Piker is bad, and he's dumb and bad and a terrorist, probably. We can call this the Hassanabi Dunk Video Industrial Complex. It's common for YouTubers during low view months to join in on the fun and make these types of videos, taking short clips from Hassan's thousands of hours of live streaming to misrepresent what he's saying, usually parroting the exact same talking points they're getting from the same YouTubers in the same community. They're watching each other's videos.
Okay, here's Mutahar.
Terrorist
Month is a testament to the algorithmic viability of Hassan Bad content. Get in front of a politically illiterate American audience and call a pro-Palestine influencer a terrorist,
Promoting hateful terrorist music videos.
Terrorist propaganda videos.
Terrorist propaganda video.
collect big fat AdSense check. That's how it goes. And Ethan knew it would do well too, and made sure to get a sponsor for the video.
Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video,
which was a VPN company that happens to be owned by an Israeli billionaire with a history of funding and supporting the IDF. He's not a Zionist though, apparently. Apparently he's not a Zionist, and he's pro-Palestine.
I've been a stalwart supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years.
A few years ago, Destiny was banned from Twitch. Since then, he has repeatedly attempted to be reinstated on the platform, and the latest attempt by using the...
Okay, so that's all that Noah did. So maybe that's why like they didn't actually have any defamatory statements within the video for Mutahar. He's just kind of like lumping Mutahar in with these other people that are attacking Hassan and like promoting this Dan Clancy sucks stuff. Okay. Well, so what do we have here? Critically, you either fail to disclose the factual basis for Muta. The first defamatory video only shows two very brief clips from Muta's October 21, 2024 video entitled "Twitch is a disgustingly evil platform." Not only did you fail to disclose the source of these clips, it is evident that you intentionally misrepresented them. In Muta's video, he explicitly states, okay, so like Ethan or Noah wasn't actually trying to say what Mutahar's thesis was in that video. What he was doing was illustrating that Mutahar is like part of a group of people that cover Hassan and basically have the same kind of tactics of attacking Hassan, saying that he supports terrorists and promoting the website like Dan Clancy Sucks, which is basically a anti-Hassan and anti-Dan Clancy Twitch like clip website. Yeah, we have to execute Noah Samsen. Okay, but what I find funny about this letter is they're like, okay, you only used 2 clips of Muta and illustrated him as part of like a group of guys that target Hassan. But the video is defamatory because actually Muta has said some other stupid shit. It's like, okay. So once again, the letter is saying that Mutahar says other dumb, like this video is barely about Mutahar at all. I guess they're just mad that he's on the thumbnail. But once again, they're trying to like disprove that Mutahar supports genocide by saying, okay, well, like he says that Asmongold probably was only talking about the extremist Muslims. Whereas, like, I don't, like, after Asmongold says that all Palestinians are inferior and they should be genocided, Muta's, like, starts laughing, and then he's like, well, I don't think, like, you should just sit there and say, like, advocate for genocide, dude. I don't think that's good.
Explains the legal definition.
Okay. So this is just the definition of libel. So I'm not somebody to, like I've said before, and I've been clipped a few times, that I feel like I need to clarify. I'm not somebody that is afraid to say that genocide is wrong. I think there's an actual case of, genocide, and there's an actual case of attack that goes towards the Palestinian people. It's like, okay, he's saying that genocide is wrong, and then he's like, oh, well, I don't think that, like, I think that maybe there is a case of genocide. That's not really saying that he is, like, speaking out against the genocide or not supporting it. Okay, let's continue. So anyway, like the whole Mutahar thing, it's extremely weak, because they're like, Noah's just painting a picture. Like, listen, if you watch the video, in the video, Noah Samsen explains a group of YouTubers, like a pattern that some YouTubers have fallen into, where they basically just say Hassan supports terrorists, and they like promote a common website that clips Hassan and other like Twitch people that have, I don't know, been like anti-Israel, and then they just repeat that, and no one makes the case that the people that are doing that are supporting the genocide by like downplaying the genocide and attacking the pro-Palestinian side. That's a pretty like solid thing to say, and you're really going to have to attack the idea that diminishing the side of the people that are being genocided is not backing a genocide. And I just don't think you can do that. And so like the whole Mutahar thing is kind of irrelevant. Like we went through the clips yesterday and it was just dumb. I think it's a little bit more interesting when it comes to Ethan, because they actually have specific claims that Noah Samsen was making about Ethan, and they're like, these are defamatory claims, even though you're just describing what Ethan's doing. And then they're gonna like break down the defamatory claims, which I think is like a little bit more interesting to talk about.
Everybody go on and lie about Ethan everywhere, and you can make a pretty penny doing it. Nice one, dude. The second defamatory statement and the fifth defamatory statement. So now we're going to prove these wrong. The second defamatory statement, you do not disclose the factual basis for how Ethan engaged in every type of manufactured consent, with one exception: your false assertion that Ethan spread the Hamas rape hoax, which you expanded upon with the fifth defamatory statement, i.e. the false assertion that Ethan misrepresented the UN report on sexual violence. The mass rapes on October 7th were not a hoax. In your defamatory video, you cite paragraph 84 and 86 from the UN report. First defamatory video, From the language you displayed in the defamatory video, it makes it clear that there were mass rapes on October 7th. Quote, overall, based on the totality of information gathered from multiple and independent sources at the different locations, there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence occurred at several locations across Gaza periphery, including in forms of rape, gang rape, during the 7th of October attacks. Credible circumstantial information, which may be indicative of some forms of sexual violence, including genital mutilation, sexualized torture, or cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, was also gathered. This, by the way, in the reports that Noah says that nothing happened.
Yeah, so, I mean, this article is just, or this letter that Ethan Klein's lawyer wrote is just wrong. Like, literally, they say that the UN report makes it clear that there were mass rapes on October 7th, when the very paragraph that they're quoting says no such thing. They say, based on the totality of information gathered from these different sources, there are reasonable grounds to believe. So characterizing that UN report as making it clear that there were mass rapes is simply a lie. And I don't want to like get into the whole rape denial issue because I think it is like a red herring, but they're just lying in this letter. So can you have like this is what gives me concern for Ethan and his lawyers and the kind of the legitimacy of this letter, when the lawyers can't even accurately paraphrase a sentence from a UN report. How can you trust them for your legal attack on Noah Samsen? There's no way a lawyer wrote that, and whether or not there is a genocide is immaterial to the defamation claim. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, they're not really arguing that there's like what I think is funny is Ethan has really departed from saying that there is a genocide, and he's really started calling what's happening in Gaza a war now. He's started calling it more and more as a war. But this whole like cease and desist letter that Ethan's sending almost implies or like assumes that there is a genocide happening. And they're like, there is a genocide. My clients just don't support it. And it's like, your clients don't even think that there is a genocide happening in the first place. The lawyers are just milking a mentally unwell individual. Yeah, like, yeah, they are. They are. But I mean, listen, guys, this is mutually beneficial in the relationship. Ethan gets a kick out of suing people, and the lawyers get hundreds of thousands of dollars from Ethan Klein. The lawyers are profiting off of Teddy Fresh, and Ethan can go to bed happy at night that he feels like he accomplished something because he sent a cease and desist letter to Noah Samsen. So he can be like, when he lays down, he can like, twiddle his little fingers and be like, I showed him today. I showed him.
Which is a continued talking point that I see by him, Hassan and co, being like, oh, actually that UN report completely exonerates Hamas. It's like, you're fucking lying, dude. You're actually lying. And not only that, I mean, not only that.
I'm just reading this Vox article right now. They're like, the report also cautioned that significant further investigation would be necessary to establish how widespread such attacks were. Like, this UN report really is extremely preliminary, and there does need to be more investigations. However, Israel and Israel defenders love to cite it, but it's an incomplete report. They didn't have the actual investigatory like weight needed to perform what would be required for an investigation of this size. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Lars. Ethan doesn't want to win. If he did, it would set a precedent that would result in his bankruptcy. Tons of people would be able to sue him and win. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, Ethan wants to win in the sense that he wants to like have the feeling of dominating Noah Samsen, but he doesn't actually want this to go to court, which I 100% agree with you. Because if it goes to court, It would be so fucking hilarious. It would be like a jury, a fucking jury, or I don't know. Do they use juries in defamation suits? Maybe, or like a court would, like a civil court would find that Ethan supports genocide. Like he would have it. It would be a fact. It would be like in his Wikipedia page that he supports genocide. If this actually went to court, it would be so fucking funny. Okay, so let's just read this Vox article a little bit because I think it's interesting. So this is what the UN report on October 7th, sexual violence does and doesn't say. The UN report gives clarity, not answers. We now have one of the most definitive sources so far in the contentious discussion about militants from Gaza's perpetration of sexual violence on October 7th. And this was written on March 8th, 2024, so about a year ago. The UN's Office on Sexual Violence in Conflict released a report Monday finding reasonable grounds to believe that militants from Gaza did perpetrate sexual violence during their attack on Israel that day, including rape or gang rape in at least 3 locations. The report also cautioned that significant further investigation would be necessary to establish how widespread such attacks were. The 23-page report is based on the findings of a 2-week mission of the UN Office of the Special Representative of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence in Conflict. Comes amid a highly contentious dispute about the prevalence of sexual violence on October 7th, as well as a low point in the already strained relationship between the UN and Israel. Horrific reports of sexual violence, though never first-hand accounts, as some or all of the victims not taken into Gaza as hostages may have been killed during the attack, surfaced in the weeks following the attacks and Israel's subsequent war in Gaza. So, like, guys, Ethan will say that what happened to believe all women? And that's definitely true. If someone comes forward with an account that they were sexually assaulted, you should believe them. Like, that should be your default position, to believe them. And obviously, like, when there is a violent militant excursion or incursion into another country, there's going to be rape and there's also going to be murder. And so it is reasonable to assume that there was sexual violence and the victims of that sexual violence were murdered. However, when we're talking about investigations, you actually need to do investigations. You can't just take people's word for it and be like, yeah, they probably raped people. They probably killed the victims of rape. Because, yeah, we can assume, like, that's just kind of a given. Yeah, there was probably sexual violence. There was probably murder of the victims of that sexual violence. But then what's the point of a report? What's the point of an investigation? You actually need to do, like, a forensic investigation if you're going to publish a report that people can rely on. Because I don't need a UN report to tell me that there was probably sexual violence that happened on October 7th. I fucking, like, have heard about World War II. I've read books about war. Like, it's kind of a given. But when we're talking about official reports, we need more details. We need more evidence of this happening. So what does it say? Those stories included, though never first-hand accounts, as some or all of the victims not taken into Gaza as hostages may have been killed during the attack, surfaced in the weeks following the attacks and Israel's subsequent war in Gaza. Those stories included claims that militants cut off a woman's breast and gang raped her, among others. Israel and others condemned the UN for its perceived indifference toward the plight of the alleged victims, but at the same time, authorities have refused to give access to the proper UN bodies that could thoroughly investigate the alleged crimes. Hamas has consistently denied that its fighters would commit sexual violence, and while it's true that Hamas was not the only group that participated in the 10/7 attacks, Palestinian Islamic Jihad and other militants also took part in the assault. The group's denial doesn't mean that some of its members didn't commit sexual crimes that day. Given the mission was not investigative, the report notes, the UN team did not gather information and or draw conclusions attributing these crimes to specific militant groups. But it did also find convincing information that some of the approximately 100 hostages still in Gaza have been subjected to sexual violence or sexualized torture by their captors. And this is another thing. Sexual violence has definitely happened to the hostages in Gaza. There have been credible evidence and there have been first-hand accounts of it. So first, a bit of important context about sexual violence in the conflicts. Sexual violence is unfortunately far too common in conflict. It is, after all, a form of violence. The study and understanding of what role it plays in war, as well as how it's defined, documented, and prosecuted, is still fairly new and developing, and investigating it is often extremely difficult, including in this case. In addition to the stigma in many communities around sex and sexual violence, including among those victimized, it can be difficult to collect evidence while a conflict is ongoing, especially if the country or community where the violence occurs doesn't have the right medical, psychological, and legal infrastructure to address the crimes and also support survivors. I mean, Israel should have all of those things. There's little doubt that some forms of sexualized violence against Israeli women happened on October 7th, but as the UN report indicates, it's impossible to tell at this point how widespread or systematic such violence was. It's really important that it be investigated what precisely happened. Jenny Burnett, director of the Institute for Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies at Georgia State University, told Vox, whether it was Hamas soldiers or militants taking their own initiatives, or whether it was planned and systematic, I think it is an important thing to uncover. Okay, and then we talked about this anyway, or yesterday, about like how it became a controversy where there were two widely publicized stories that were later debunked of a teenager being raped by Hamas militants, which proved not to be true, and also a pregnant woman having her fetus ripped out, which was also not true. So the UN team, composed of 9 experts, including an open source and digital information analyst, as well as forensic pathologists and 2 investigators trained in conducting safe and ethical interviews of survivors and witnesses of sexual and gender-based violence, was mandated to collect, analyze, and verify information about CRSV on October 7th. Will not be the UN's final say in the matter. A full investigation into war crimes committed on both sides is under the mandate of the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory. The SRSG SVC mission conducted its visit from January 29th to February 14th. It's like, 15 days of this year, and found a reasonable grounds to believe that rape and gang rape occurred at the Nova Music Festival and the surrounding areas, Road 232 and Kibbutz Re'im. The mission also found a pattern of victims, primarily women whose bodies were found partially or fully naked and bound. While that's circumstantial evidence, it could point to sexual violence. Based on its findings, the report establishes that there is a reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence occurred on October 7th, and the captives in Gaza have been subjected to sexual violence too. The mission also visited Ramallah and the West Bank in response to reports of sexual violence and attacks against Palestinian people, particularly those held in detention by Israeli security forces and settlers. The UN report is based on reviewing evidence and conducting interviews in Israel over 2 weeks, which, as it notes, is not nearly sufficient time to conduct a full investigation into sexual violence on October 7th, much less whether those crimes were premeditated, systemic, or directed by leadership. Indeed, establishing a link between a crime or a pattern of crimes and conflict and leadership directing those crimes can take years. That's why it is so difficult to prosecute. The UN report mentions the lack of forensic evidence, such as autopsies and in situ crime scene photos, as part of the challenge of the investigation, although it did review many verified pieces of photo and video evidence from the sites where the team was able to investigate. The other thing that makes this situation particularly hard is that with the rise of generative AI, it's increasingly hard to verify photographic and video evidence, and audio evidence is as untampered with and unmanipulated. Though the authenticated open source photo and video evidence that the team did view found no conclusive evidence of rape, some circumstantial evidence, like the positioning of bodies and state of dress, could indicate sexual violence. The report detailed difficulties in collecting evidence, including the use of first responders lacking the necessary skills to identify and document evidence of sexual violence. Potential forensic evidence could have been removed or obscured due to the first responders' religious beliefs around the dead, including Jewish tradition that mandates rapid burial. While that does not mean there is likely not DNA evidence of sexual violence, there is still important information to be gleaned from these investigations. There's often a misconception that sexual violence documentation has to occur within the first 72 hours to get DNA evidence, she said, but actually in the context of conflict-related sexual violence, you're often not looking to link to a specific perpetrator, right, but you're actually looking at the pattern of how sexual violence has occurred in the pattern of harm. The UN report pushes back on some of the claims about more barbaric conflict-related sexual violence on October 7th, notably a persistent rumor that a fetus was cut out of a pregnant woman and then stabbed. Importantly, the report doesn't include evidence gathered from Israeli intelligence services, including those related to interrogations of alleged perpetrators, despite some being offered due to the mission team's inability in the time allotted to establish the due process rights of the accused person and adequate authentication. Okay. The thing, so then they're talking about how the IDF like will torture people to elicit a confession, like a false confession out of them. So anyway, it's like, yes, the UN report found circumstantial evidence. That's not the same as saying it makes it clear there were mass rapes. That's literally the opposite of what they're saying. Garlic Fries says, do you have an opinion on A? On A? Do you have any opinion on A? What is that? I mean, will they keep trying the same energy for the IDF because everything they say about is boo? Because everything they say is true about Hamas, it's true about the IDF, and they do so much worse. Also, it's not just conjecture, it's proven. Yeah. No, I mean, no, they're not going to say that about the IDF. A complete double standard.
You're siding with terrorists over people who and not only that, I mean, happened, which is a continued talking point that I see by him, Hassan and co being like, oh, actually that UN report completely exonerates Hamas. It's like, you're fucking lying, dude. You're actually lying. And not only that, I mean, not only that, you're siding with terrorists over people.
Lars, I honestly, I don't have an opinion on AB. I don't know. I don't think he's that relevant to this whole situation. But if he said anything interesting, let me know. He just seems, he just seems kind of chill and he doesn't really know what he's talking about. So not really. He's not that interesting to me. I mean, I'd like to talk to him maybe, but he's really not that interesting to the only thing that is interesting about AB is that he's Lebanese. Sorry. And then people are like, oh my God, Ethan's kind of justifying Israel's bombing of Lebanon and you're Lebanese. How does that make you feel? That's the only interesting thing about him.
Who are genitally mutilated, sexually tortured, gang raped, and degraded.
Yeah, Ethan's just making all of this up. There's no evidence that this happened. Once again, there's circumstantial evidence that the UN report found, but they have nothing conclusive. And you just have to ask yourself, why is Ethan so fixated on the idea that there were mass rapes that happened? And I think it just goes back to, it's the same reason Ethan doesn't want a one-state solution with an equal amount of Palestinians and an equal amount of Israelis, because he thinks that the Palestinians are inferior and they're going to try to kill all of the Jews living in Israel. It really is just racism. And so Ethan's fixation on there were mass rapes that happened, and if you don't stand up and say that definitively there were mass rapes and mass torture and mutilation of women's genitals, then you are anti-Semitic and you are insisting on defending terrorists. That stems from Ethan's racism. And once again, Ethan's racism and his insistence on an Israeli ethno-state isn't the same as support for the genocide of Palestinians, but it does make it an easier pill to swallow if you already believe that they should be separate, right? If you believe that Palestinians should be separate from Israelis.
By cruel treatment. You are throwing them aside to side with terrorists. In this case, Hamas.
It's once again, people that are okay, well, there's not good evidence of mass rapes happening on October 7th, aren't siding with Hamas. They're not siding with Israel. What they're siding with is the truth. You can't just say that mass rapes happened without any evidence of it. And once again, the UN report that Ethan Klein is citing says that there's at most circumstantial evidence of sexual violence happening. That's all that the UN report says. So that's really the furthest extent of the claim that you can make.
That's fucking insane. It is. It has to be. Like, I think the collective online left has just completely lost its mind. I think it's just...
Also, I mean, let's see if, like, Ethan will say if you side with Hamas, you're siding with terrorists. Let's see if he'll say anything about if you side with the IDF, you're siding with terrorists. Because in the past, he's made the argument that the IDF is a terrorist organization. Like, he's at least given a voice to that argument. He's voiced that argument before Tehila. Let's see if he does that at all.
Totally fucking rotten from the core. And I mean, this is just proof of it. Not only is Noah out here saying this shit, he's being propped up by everybody on Twitter. From Hassan. Hassan has watched all of his videos in their entirety. He's dedicated hours of time watching Noah's videos. And George Janitis, the human STD, watching all of his videos. God, he really is a human STD. That's so good. George Janitis.
It's so funny that if you made fun of Ethan's last name, Klein, which is just German for small, he would call you anti-Semitic. Like, oh, if you make fun of my name, you're anti-Semitic. But he's like literally just saying that this guy, I mean, he made an entire video just saying that Bad Empanada was fucking ugly and he looked like a terrorist. And now he's just making fun of his name and calling him a loser because of his name.
I'd love to see George Janitis step foot outside of Argentina and see how fast he gets sued by like a dozen people. But that's okay. None of them are as dedicated, as crazy, and as willing to waste money as I am. So Georgie boy thinks he's safe out there. But he's not, he's just never really come up against someone like me. I'll just be honest. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I have more money than them. I'm more dedicated than them. I've completely fucking thrown every... While
you were streaming on Twitch, I was honing my skills in the ancient art of litigation. While you were off frolicking in Australia, I was spending nights in my basement, surrounded by my dog's shit, pouring through your streams, finding defamatory statements that you made. I have mastered the art of suing people. No one can waste more money than I have.
All these things are like, maybe it's not worth it. That's all gone. Maybe it's not worth it to spend $1 million pursuing some fucking human STD in Argentina. No, that's gone. See, that's gone. When you guys...
What you're seeing here is the complete devolution of a content creator. Once they have let their internet beefs completely consume them, they have no more apprehensions about dedicating their entire lives to ruining the lives of their opposition. They are now fully invested, and nothing else will bring meaning to their life.
Contributed to an atmosphere in which the CPS was called on my house. When you specifically, George, joked about calling the CPS, when you specifically, George, suggested I was lying about the CPS coming to my house, when you, George, specifically propagated this whole thing by saying that my kids were crawling around and eating shit, potentially eating shit.
Bro, Ethan said his kids were eating shit. Why is he blaming Bad Empanada for this? Once again, CPS was called by a guy Ethan personally knew and went into Ethan's house. According to Ethan, the CPS agent said, yeah, someone that you personally know and was at your house called us. So according to Ethan, Bad Empanada traveled through time and influenced this person to call CPS. He activated him like some kind of sleeper agent through his videos on his Bad Empanada or his Bad Empanada live channel. And now that he got activated, he he called CPS, and then after the CPS call was made, Bad Empanada was joking about it, which somehow influenced the person to call CPS 4 days prior to Bad Empanada joking about it.
You welcome to my world, baby. You know what I mean? Let's fucking get it, dude. And I've been in a lawsuit with Ryan Kavanagh now for like over 3 years, and I've spent countless hundreds of thousands. To me, this is just like my free time. I don't know how you handle it. For me, this is just like, this is a Sunday breeze, okay? So yeah, we're gonna be working with Argentina.
Bro has 3 kids and he's like, my free time is suing YouTubers for making fun of me.
Argentinian lawyers, investigators, police, and we are going to be basically exploring all and every possible legal and civil venue to hold the human STD George Janitis responsible for his slander, his defamation, his disgusting, violent fucking rhetoric. Yeah, the guy who caused...
Oh, he played a video game and he made a joke about one of the IDF soldiers that you kill in the video game of being Ela. No, he didn't even do that. He's like, I'm looking for a secretary. He didn't even make a joke about, oh, I killed someone that like was Ela. No, he's like, I'm looking for a secretary. Okay. That's what you're going to sue him for? Playing a video game? Okay, Ethan.
Played as a Hamas terrorist and pretended to kill my wife. And again, just I have to emphasize, this guy who is so clearly insane is being propped up by Noah.
Wait, get ready for it, guys. It's actually Hassan's fault.
Which is less surprising because he's also insane, but more so by Hassan, who's now dedicated a dozen hours probably to watching Bad Empanada videos in its entirety. And just nodding along, by the way, when he goes, Ela Klein is a he said something like, Ela Klein is a terrorist that kills babies, like without a hint of irony. And Hassan's just like, That's the sound he made. What Hassan does, you guys are going to learn throughout all this, is that these are his attack dogs. He uses them to say the shit that he wouldn't say, to attack the people in ways that is obviously below the belt, that is unacceptable. And instead of having to say it himself, he rewards them by watching their entire videos on his stream in its entirety. And it's basically as good as him saying it in that case, but he doesn't have any of the liability. So that's why he throws it. And now in George's case, this has proven a useful, a symbiotic relationship, because George is in Argentina, away from most forms of accountability, right?
Sincerely.
Now, Noah is actually being played as a fucking idiot because Noah is doing his dirty work, but he's doing it from Los Angeles. Now, what do you think of that? Noah, you're about to find out that you're a tool, my friend. And I look forward to Hassan paying for your lawyer fees, too. I mean, that's the least he could do, right? I mean, he's just sitting on a hoard of wealth like Smog the Dragon. The least he could do is fucking toss a few coins to my boy living with his parents at age 26. That's a reference to a video he put out. No hate to parent dwellers. George Janitis, the human STD. It's actually incurable. You don't want to catch this one. It could be fatal too. I know it makes your dick leak pus. George Janitis makes...
All right, guys. Sorry, you gotta just like suffer through Ethan fantasizing about what bad empanada would do to someone's penis.
Makes your dick leak yellow pus. That's just a fact. It is. There it is. That's you trying to pee with George Janitis.
Apparently, you're pissing in a parking garage with that kind of sound reverberation.
Diligence when covering
shit.
This is George trying to pee with George Janitis. Thank you, Zach. So Muda is here. Let's get him on the line, and I want to basically get him to comment on his portion of this, and then I'll continue. I also want to say the defense to this, the messaging that you're going to see is not to explain why what they said is not defamatory. You will not see Hassan or any of his orbiters or any of the people online, these leftist fucking, propagandists on Twitter who spend all day just, tweeting about me. You will not see them proving these statements to be defamatory. What you will see them saying.
You will not see them proving these statements to be defamatory. So Ethan misspoke here. He means you will not see people proving these statements to not be defamatory. Which I'm like, oh yeah, let's bring on the statements so we can actually respond to the statements. But yeah, Ethan's like, they're just gonna say that I'm targeting people's freedom of speech. Which is also true. Like, that's undeniably true. You're literally not suing Noah Samsen. What you did was send him a cease and desist letter to get him to stop his speech of you. You're not like, the damage has already been done. Fuck it. Like, lawyer up or we're going to court. He sent you a cease and desist letter to try to get your speech to change.
Is that they'll do broad strokes of, oh, Ethan's using the law to silence critics. That's all you're going to see because they know that they can't get into the facts of the story. Otherwise, it'll be obvious that they're wrong and he's a malicious liar. So get prepared to see everybody saying Ethan is exploiting the law to silence criticism and anti-free speech.
Basically, he's saying, if what my letter says is wrong, please prove me wrong. Like, respond to the letter. But let's just like play that back because that's not what he says.
Speech and all this types of shit. Silence criticism and anti-free speech and all this types of shit. Listen, buddy, if what I said is defamatory, it should be easy as pie to just respond. Just tell us how.
So he's like, if what I said is defamatory, tell us how what I said is defamatory. Like, what the fuck are you saying? That's these like he has no connection between his muscle memory and the part of his brain that produces speech and the part of his brain that comes up with thoughts that he's trying to get across. He has no connection between these parts of his brain. He's like, if what I'm saying is defamatory, then tell me how. What are you talking about, bro? But we know what he's saying. He's like, if what you said isn't defamatory, then tell me how. Okay. But I just kind of want to quickly respond. Ethan has defamed Noah Samsen. I mean, he has said that Noah Samsen literally called for violence against Ethan and other propagandists. He's like, Noah Samsen is sending his fans out to kill me, and that's not a joke. He also heavily implied that Noah Samsen is a rapist. There's that too. So yeah, you literally have defamed Noah Samsen and you haven't offered an apology or a retraction for that. I guess he kind of retracted that first, like, oh, I wouldn't be making rape jokes if I was Noah Samsen. He has kind of retracted that because he interviewed the person they were talking about, and the girl that he had on was like, Noah Samsen cheated on me with other women and didn't tell me that he was sleeping around. And there was that, but like, you still haven't retracted anything where you're like, Noah Samsen is calling for my murder. The brain requires calories, and the Ozempic has suppressed his appetite to the point where he's impaired. Yeah, like, I wouldn't really be surprised at that. Medically, I think that's called psychosis. It looks like somebody has to be guilty. That's how defamation works. Could Samsen even get a fair hearing in this country? A demand an Islamic judge? Yeah, can we actually get this being held in Iranian court? Can we have this lawsuit being held in Iran? Because that's probably the only fair hearing we're going to get when it comes to Israel.
You didn't do it in the video.
Dude, just once again, like, guys, Ethan said, if the statements I've made are defamatory, prove it to me. And then he's like, you didn't do it in the video.
Mutahar, let's bring him in.
Mutahar. One moment.
Mutahar.
The Mutahar.
There he is.
Hey.
Others
That's
globally
one
take
ordinary gamer right there.
Thanks, man. What's up, brother? How's it
How are
going?
you?
Wild day today. The nukes are out.
So tell me about basically why you decided to do this.
Well, I decided to do it because I want to say since he dropped his videos, the first one with my face in the thumbnail, I have not stopped seeing it in the comment section for every video. So clearly, it's just been sort of like a thing that's stuck in the audience. I think ever since I reactivated.
Oh my god, my computer's fucking dying. Okay, so Mutahar said he has not stopped seeing it. This is the other thing. Mutahar, I listened to a bit of this interview. Mutahar talks and then like skips like 5 seconds ahead in time and finishes his thought. So he has completely disjointed speech patterns. It's extremely weird and it's difficult to follow what he's saying. So let's just like really quickly run this back and like
videos.
Take a really close listen to the words that he's saying.
Well, I decided to do it because I want to say since he dropped his videos, the first one with my face in the thumbnail, I have not stopped seeing it in the comment section for every video. So clear.
Right, so he's like, he dropped his videos, the first one with my face in the thumbnail. I have not stopped seeing it in the comment sections of videos. You have not stopped seeing what? The video that Noah Samsen made? Like, he doesn't use words to actually express himself, and he makes his, like, he relies on his audience to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this, like, back and forth of communication. You can't actually understand what the motherfucker's saying. Like, he just skips words. It's weird. It's like he's buffering, but in real time. So anyway, I'm going to go to his channel. So we're on Mutahar's channel, Some Ordinary Gamers, which once again, it's a single person. I don't know why it's a plural name. That's just like triggering me. Let's go to his latest video. So he says, I've not stopped seeing it, which I'm assuming is people saying you are supporting a genocide in the comment section of my videos. Okay, so what sucks about $90 games, $40 games, everything goes up in prices. What sucks is that people are complaining and will still buy the games. Breath of the Wild, at this point, to be a pirate. Oh, wait, maybe this is something. Be a Somali pirate, Yemeni pirate, Colombian pirate. No, that's not really pro-genocide. Okay, let's just look. Let's just control F, genocide. Okay, genocide's not there. Let's search Palestine. Palestine's not there. Let's search Israel. Israel's not there. What other keywords could we search for this? Yeah, they're really dumb. And I'm here for the drama. Let me know if I'm abusing you. Dude, it's just so difficult to like understand what these people are saying. Like, that's why I'm not listening to it at 1.5 times speed, because I actually can't follow them. Okay, so there's literally nothing in here about genocide or anything like that, so that's a lie. Let's go to 5 days ago. Rockstar Games, let's see. So I'm on his channel right now. When did Noah Samsen's video come out? Like 20 days ago? Does he respond to it? 20 days ago. So we'll go to a video 2 weeks ago, because that's objectively like after the Noah Samsen video came out, and we'll see the comments there. I was not ready for that thumbnail. The Muta beard situation. Bearded Muta. Hilarious, bro. This is YouTube. You can't flash us like that. 0% trade war, 100% thumbnail. Holy shit, it's not AI. He's manscaped. The thumbnail looks cursed. Okay, so it's not in any of these. It's not in any of his comment sections. Let's go to let's go to this one. Yeah, I don't see any comments. Let's just really quick search like genocide in the comment section. Search Palestine. Let's search Hamas in the comment section. Nope, not in there. Sort by newest? Okay, yeah, let's sort by newest. I mean, it has 1,200 comments. 6 days ago is the newest. Let's just search really quick one more time. Genocide, nope. Moss. Palestine. No. Like, I think, like, once again, it's hard to understand what he's saying. But if he was saying, I'm seeing comments because of Noah Samsen's videos in my comment section, he's just lying. Like, that's not a thing that's happening. At least not noticeably. So I'm done investigating that. If you guys have anything else, then let me know. I don't think it's his YouTube fans that are mad, but that's just my opinion. Okay, well, let's, like, once again, we've listened to him for like 5 seconds. Let's just see if he has anything else to say.
To do this.
Well, I decided to do it because I want to say since he dropped his videos, the first one with my face in the thumbnail, I have not stopped seeing it in the comment section for every video. So clearly it's just been sort of like a thing that's stuck in the audience. I think ever since I reactivated Twitter.
It's been a thing that's stuck in the audience. Like, bro, this is like listening to a caveman grunt and you're trying to, or like Lassie barking at you and you're trying to understand what they're trying to say. I've not stopped seeing it in the, like, it's gotten stuck in my audience. I've not stopped seeing it in the comment section of videos. So is he trying to say it's an idea that's gotten stuck in the heads of my audience and I haven't stopped seeing it in the comment section of my videos, seeing people talking about it in the comment sections of my videos? We don't know what he's trying to say. But if that is what he's trying to say, he's lying, because we just searched through his comment sections, and unless he's getting his mods to delete all of these comments, his audience doesn't give a fuck about the videos.
It's been filled with the mentions of like, you're a genocide supporter, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, obviously that's caused impact to my channel. It's obviously, you know, like people, I mean, you see that in the comment sections, it's bad. But
once again, he can't finish a thought. That's caused people, you see that in the comment sections, it's bad. That's caused impact to my channel. You see people, you see it in the comment sections, that's bad. Like, he's speaking gibberish. We can't actually follow what he's saying.
Then in reality land, right? Like,
But in reality land, you haven't demonstrated it's impacted your channel at all. You saw a few negative comments? How has that impacted your channel at all?
Like, this is the first time I had to like completely miss out on like eat prayers and all this stuff, just because I don't really get into my community anymore. So, you know.
Okay, so this is funny. So I was listening to a little bit of this, and the guy's like, this is so in reality land, this is the first time I've had to miss Eid because I don't get into my community anymore. So this sounds really bad, right? It's like Noah Samsen has caused Mutahar to completely self-isolate from all of his family and friends that he interacts with. He can't even take part in religious holidays. This is horrible. Noah Samsen's completely ruined his life.
Eat prayers and all this stuff, just because I don't really get into my community anymore. So, you know, I don't really see my family much anymore.
Noah Samsen's caused a division between Mutahar and his family. This is horrible, guys. Like, Mutahar has completely had a drop in quality of life because of Noah Samsen's video.
Just to keep them away from me while this.
Because he's self-sacrificing. He's keeping his family at an arm's length because he just doesn't want, it's like, for their own safety. I don't want you to be associated with me because I'm just getting so much targeted hate in my comment section that I'm deleting that no one can find.
This is kind of raging. I've got my own community that, you know, I pray every Friday.
Oh, he has his own community where he does pray every Friday. Oh my God, HK, dude, 2 nights in a row, you're too kind, my man. You don't have to donate them. You don't have to donate that much stuff. I mean, I appreciate it, and I'm sure the people that get gifted memberships appreciate it too. So everyone give it up to HK. They are a legend. But oh my God, dude, you're like, you're making me feel like I don't deserve your gifted subs.
Friday, I go all the time, and you know.
Okay, fuck. Like, I know I'm really shitting on this guy, but I'm just trying to demonstrate how what he's saying doesn't make any sense. So he's saying he's self-isolated from his family and this is the first time he's not going to Eid prayer. But then he says, but actually, I have my own community I go to.
My own community that, you know, I pray every Friday. I go all the time.
And he does pray every Friday. So is this the first time he missed Eid prayer, or okay? Let's continue.
You know, over there, I've been kind of
Hey, thanks for the super chat, James Emery.
confronted with some people who have brought it up. You know, just other people in the.
So what I love about this is the guy's admitting he doesn't have any contact with his family at all, just without any kind of pressure at all. He's like completely volunteering this information. No, I don't see my family. I don't interact with my family. I do my own thing. He's like, and then someone in my own community brought it up, and it was awkward or something like that.
I guess fellowship, so to speak, and it's just not been a fun time. It's with some people who have brought it up. You know, just other people in the, I guess, fellowship, so to speak, and it's just not been a fun time. It's been a nuisance to deal with.
This fucking white bitch-made loser. Okay.
It was like, it's not been a fun time because someone brought up the video. Yeah, dude, Mutahar is nothing. I mean, they have to say that they have some kind of damages that they're experiencing, but really, it's like, all he has is that someone brought up the video.
Okay, he wants to save you from yourself, I guess. What is he trying to do? What do you think about this white?
So then guys, remember Noah Samsen made a video basically saying Mutahar is part of a group of apolitical YouTubers that every now and then will like dunk on Hassan. And in the context of an ongoing genocide, they're doing it. And the effectiveness of their content output is that they're like basically supporting these genocidal efforts. And then Ethan says, okay, well, Noah Samsen's trying to save you from yourself. Like, no, that's not what he's doing. What Noah Samsen did in that video was illustrate a pattern of behavior that certain people will fall into and then explain why that pattern of behavior is harmful.
Dude telling you that you are pro-genocide.
Bro, it's so insane because like I've said.
Also, like Ethan classically using identity politics to emphasize his point.
Bitch-made loser.
I have to run it back.
I pray every Friday. I go all the time, and you know, over there, I've been kind of confronted with some people who have brought it up. You know, just other people in the, I guess, fellowship, so to speak, and it's just not been a fun time. It's been a nuisance to deal with.
This fucking white bitch-made loser. Okay, he wants to save you from yourself, I guess. What is he trying to do? What do you think about this white dude telling you that you are pro-genocide?
Bro, it's so insane because like I've said it like publicly. It's like even with like Hassan or whatever, it's like there are some people that just have the ability to turn their like I guess you could say victim card on and off, right? Like, you know, it's easy to be Muslim when it's convenient. Just if you want that victim card on you, or like a.
So it's so interesting. Ethan asked him, he's like, how do you feel about a white guy telling you, a brown Muslim, that you're pro-genocide of Muslims? How does that make you feel? And then Mutahar's like, yeah, it's interesting. Like some people like Hassan can turn off being brown or can turn off being Muslim on and off whenever they want. Like, that's not what, I mean, it's a stupid question, but he just like brings up Hassan right off the bat. But of course, these guys have hate boners for Hassan.
Brown skinned person, but it's like, I live it every day, you know, like I can't turn that off. So when I see guys like Noah come in and tell me what I shouldn't and should not feel, especially when I've grown in that environment, like I've grown up in a.
Like once again, Noah's not telling you what you should and should not feel. He's describing your content as part of a larger pattern of other content creators that have done similar things you've done. Like, he's not saying, oh, Mutahar should feel bad for being a Muslim and being pro-genocide. He's not saying that at all. Like, it's literally like nothing personal between Noah and Mutahar. He's not actually talking about Mutahar either.
Muslim household, various degrees of conservative Muslim household too, like depending on how far, like if you go to my grandparents and stuff. So it's just, when I was in that video talking about like my piece towards the end, that came from like a personal experience, something that I highly doubt Noah's been through. So it's shocking that when I'm not on their side, when I'm not on the accepted side, I'm just the Uncle Tom. I'm fucking out of it. Like, I don't know what I'm saying. Like, it's just annoying. It's like, fuck this guy. Like, fuck you.
Once again, man, like, no one ever said that you should feel a certain way or that you're an Uncle Tom. I mean, they're just making up these positions and giving them to Noah.
Yeah, it's like it's always like, listen to the diverse voices. Listen to what they're saying. Oh, this guy disagreeing, he supports genocide. Don't worry about him. Saying like the worst shit possible about you. Like, why the fuck do they target you with the worst shit possible?
Dude, so like I normally, like, I wouldn't even get into the legal trenches of this, right? Because it's like, I'm not at the stage you're at where it's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go. Like I'm in the trenches. Like normally I wouldn't, because it's kind of like an apprehensive thing. But when Noah puts me up as like a genocide supporter, right, and like a thumbnail and everything, and I watch his videos, like it's insane because I've had my own lawyers. Like I've sat down and spent billable hours. We watched his videos, and we're just like sitting there like, where the fuck does he get off saying this kind of shit? Like dude, I have a fucking legal bill. I'm looking.
Noah talked about Mutahar like a total of 0 times. He used clips of Mutahar to, once again, illustrate that there was a pattern of YouTubers doing this Hassan bad, Hamas bad, Dan Clancy bad type of stuff. And if you support Palestinians too hard, then you're a terrorist supporter. Like, that's what Noah Samsen was doing. So when Mutahar's like, I was paying my lawyers to watch these videos, and we're like, where does he get off saying all of these things? He wasn't actually really talking about Mutahar in the video too much. Like, once again, I don't know why he's acting so incredulous, because the video wasn't really about Mutahar. It was mostly about Ethan.
Yeah. For all, like, it's part of like the fucking accounting. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, I look at everything that he says, and I just think, like, how do you get out? And it was my wife that came in, and she's like, listen, it's kind of like calling you a predator, like a child predator or something.
Totally.
Right? Like, you know, you could, it's one thing.
Like, it's so funny to me that their defense is, wow, that's a really bad thing that you called me. Yeah, it is, because there's a really bad stuff happening right now, and you're both siding it. You're saying, oh yeah, I know the Palestinians are getting like massacred, but you know, we should have like a nuanced opinion on this. There's good things that Israel's doing, there's good things that Palestine's doing. Just like, let's not get a little too carried away in defending the Palestinians, because Hamas is really bad. They've done some bad stuff. So if you support Palestinians too hard, I mean, it's almost like you're in favor of Hamas. Like, that's, once again, guys, let's just get this really clear. If you support Palestine, that's understanding that while Hamas isn't good, they are an expression of resistance against Israel. And so you can understand why Hamas is not completely like surrendering, because that wouldn't change anything, and still say, yeah, I don't like Hamas because they have done war crimes. Like, they've very specifically done war crimes, just like Israel's done war crimes, just like the United States has done war crimes. We should prosecute the people that have done these war crimes. But that doesn't mean that Palestine, even though it is ruled by Hamas, deserves to be genocided. That's what people are saying. And so, and Mutahar will hear that and say, oh, you are a Hamas lover, you support terrorism.
If somebody says something about me that, like, you know, whatever, it's not going to cause me harm at the end of the day. Like, it's just internet beef. This is like, you might as well call me the worst thing imaginable. Yep. And at some point, like, I'm going to have to respond to you. And if me, like, because I don't want to do this thing where I make like a video back and forth.
Oh, thanks for the super chat, James Emery. This is dishonest from Muta. Noah literally explains it in the video how Muta is actively helping prop up genocidal rhetoric. Yeah, of course. Of course it's dishonest. I mean, everything he said so far has been a lie.
Like, I don't want to feed into like nonsense drama if it's not going to do anything. I'd rather it be in a public record. If that's the only way to like defend ourselves at all, you know,
100%.
Which it seems like it is.
Yeah. And previously, when I've gotten into like spats like this where people are lying about you, you can make a video, you show.
And guys, I just remember, like, for those of you who weren't in the stream at the beginning of the stream, we are having this conversation while the U.S. Senate just voted to block an $8.8 billion arms sales or they voted against the blocking of $8.8 billion in arms sales to Israel. So we're literally just sending another $8.8 billion where a bipartisan bill was passed selling weapons to Israel to carry out this genocide. We have immigrants being black bagged and detained, their windows being busted open, pulled out of their cars by masked immigration agents. Like, look at this guy. This guy just walks over and breaks open her car window.
If it's against... No!
The guy's wearing a mask. They ask, okay, where are your orders to detain me? And they're like, we don't have to show you the orders. And Marco Rubio, is the Secretary of State, is saying we're going to deport people. We're going to deport people who are here on visas if they are critical of the United States or critical of Israel. Let's just run this really quick.
Let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot.
So once again, this isn't we're going to deport people that are doing crimes. This is we're going to deport people that are participating in movements that are critical of the United States and Israel. So even if you were just participating in a movement, even if you haven't done any crimes at all, just by speaking up and against Israel, then you are liable to be deported by this current administration. And by the last administration too. We had students being expelled. We had deans of colleges being fired because they allowed these protests to happen. So it's worse now, but this isn't anything new. So that's the context in which these two guys are suing the creator of a video that talks about like how YouTubers are kind of both sidesing this genocide.
The receipts, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, he's telling the truth. In this case, these people, Hassan and co, who are part of this cult, they don't care being wrong. That's part of their strategy. They are knowingly malicious. They don't care. It's like, it's just about the target. It's not about the method of criticism. It's just about destroying the target. And they don't care how it's done. We could prove 1,000 times over that they're just totally materially lying, but they won't care. All they'll say now is that we're trying to silence his free speech, which is
Dude, I hated that so much. Like, so I've seen the whole rumbling. It's like, oh, you guys are shutting down free speech. And I think I tweeted about like Andrew Tate having like a defamation case where like they literally used his own words. And I'm like, well, that's you shutting down free speech. And I've seen like so many people equate that to this situation right here, us looking into like the legal options. And I'm like, no, this is obviously very different because the letter you just read, right? Like just my section alone and then your section. It's like you literally like mishandled. You've like misconstrued every clip that you've shown. We have the context.
Noah didn't show any clips, did he? Like I just gotta look at this one more time. So this is the YouTuber Selected Genocide by Noah Samsen, and maybe they're talking about in the second video. The genocide supporting YouTube has responded. Did he show more clips? Okay, so he did show more clips of Mutahar in this video. But once again, it was like supposed to be the first video. What clips did he show?
Website known as danclancysucks.com, where it goes through a treasure trove of some of the most popular streamers on the site. One of the most popular political streamer, Hassan Piker.
As we went over, this website is a compilation of out-of-context clips and arguments attacking pro-Palestine creators that openly embraces the support of genocidal Zionist organizations like the ADL and genocidal Zionist politicians like Richie Torres. The community from which all of these allegations originate is that of a content creator who says things like this.
He is interviewing the guy who's about to go do some shit to get himself killed, basically. That's what's gonna happen. We know from this point, that's what's gonna happen. So he walks away, gets back a little bit.
Wait, where are the other clips of Mutahar? That's not a clip of him. Is that the only clip of Mutahar Noah played in this entire video? What's this?
It's a sad event and the overall morally righteous fight against terrorists. Terrorism is bad, remember, and terrorists are the bad guys. So if some kids died while they were going after terrorists, you know, I guess that's just war. We saw the same response of "no, I didn't" from Mutahar of the large YouTube channel Some Ordinary Gamers. When Hassan Piker shared my video on his Instagram story, Mutahar responded to this post writing, "I get watching other people's videos is all you're really good at, but try vetting out slander before promoting. I have never defended or backed the Israeli genocide on innocent Gazans, never will I ever." Following this, there was a bit of a back and forth. Hassan responded to Mutahar on Twitter, writing, "In your only video on Gaza, you admit to not knowing about politics, you try to cover Israel-Palestine as drama slop for a centrist audience, you defend Asmongold for his inferior cultures and genocide comment, then attack pro-Palestinian voices." Mutahar wrote back, "Yes, I do admit to not being an expert on the topic. I didn't cover it as a drama since it isn't one. Serious situations with dead people and attacks happening every day. I just don't downplay rapes and sugarcoat violent organizations like you. Also didn't defend Asman in vid." Later, Hassan wrote, "We were a year into the genocide here. This was your only video on the topic. It downplayed and ran defense for Asmongold's takes, while the bulk of your commentary revolved around how evil the pro-Palestinian streamers were from clips you compiled off of snark Reddits." Mutahar's final response was, "It's almost as if the bulk of the commentary matched what the video was titled and centered about, Twitch allowing violent and unfiltered rhetoric from your camp on its platform. The clips were actually sourced from the creators who streamed them." So what do we make of this exchange? Well, first, Mutahar denied covering the genocide as drama, but that's exactly what he did. He has never once uploaded a video covering this topic, except for when that coverage was filtered through a smear campaign that was making the rounds in the commentary community about a content creator they all don't like. You know, Hassan Bad. He denies defending Asmongold in his video, once again making no effort to actually defend himself on that point, but that's also false. Mutahar whitewashed Asmongold's comments further than anyone else, really. He went so far as to change the content of what Asmongold actually said to make it seem like he wasn't talking about Palestinians when he was.
In this situation, one could, if they were to extend the charitability, could say that Asmongold was probably referring to extremists in the Islamic religion.
Even Asmongold himself admitted that that's what he said when he apologized. This is why he was banned. Now, whether Mutahar stands by this characterization of Asmongold's genocidal rhetoric or not is a different question, but he did do that, and the record shows this. His video is still uploaded on his channel. You can go watch it. Denying this seems to be just indicative of a lack of reflection on his part. Entirely predictable, but worth noting nonetheless. The "no, I didn't" defense is the expected response from centrists and liberal Zionists alike, but I don't know how well it'll hold up in court. "I didn't back genocide. How could you say that? I just sat silently the entire time it happened, except for the one time I spoke up, which was actually to attack pro-Palestine activists with bad faith smears that originate from a community of openly genocidal Zionists."
I'm pro-genocide. They're terrible.
Yeah, so there was that clip, and I don't think No used any other clips, because really in this video there was only 2 really short clips of Mutahar that were basically in a compilation of other YouTubers saying the same thing. So yeah, Noah Samsen barely ever used clips, and I guess reading Mutahar's tweets, is that going to be defamatory now? Reading his tweets that he put out there? Never ever literally asks for a full clip trying to defend Asmongold first thing watching his rant. Remember when all your focus is drama, clout, and making money on YouTube, then you are bound to be more likely to do some disgusting shit like Mutahar. Yeah, it's interesting. And when you say I'm not going to really get involved with this, but I think the people that are defending Palestinians are going too far, and they're sugarcoating violent organizations like Hamas, I think you can make the claim that that is backing a genocide. Like, when there's a genocide going on and it's completely disproportionate in terms of Israel having all of the power, having all of the agency, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and you say, I think you're defending Hamas a little too hard. That, like, and that's your only coverage on this. If you say, I think you're defending Hamas too hard, however, obviously, like, we're going to be speaking out against Israel because Israel is doing some horrific shit, and that's like the bulk of your commentary is targeting Israel, that's fine. But if all you say is people are defending Hamas too hard, let's talk about Twitch, who's allowing people to defend Hamas too hard, then yeah, that's kind of backing the genocide. You are putting out content and you are giving your viewers the idea that people speaking out about this shit are being terrorists and they're like overreacting to it.
Evidence out there, you could have seen it, you know, you could have relayed it. Dude, I did an investigation on that guy completionist like a year and a half ago with like Carl Jobs, right? And in that investigation, I was so careful on what I could say and what I couldn't say. Like, that video had to be like legally verified. I got it checked numerous times. I do it for every investigation. Specifically after our beef, actually. After that, like, I fucking renewed into a changed man. I'm like, everything that I say has to have like a fucking bullet behind it. Because the day it goes to court, you know, the day, because I know that I can get sued obviously within a year of making a video per, like, you know, most defamation statutes. Unlike Noah, it's like you got, like, I have to come with all the evidence prepared.
Bro, is it triggering anyone else that his camera is focused on like the game cases behind him and not actually on his face? It's just like kind of triggering me a little bit.
And when I see these guys making their like actual slop videos, like I know that these guys use slop as like the most negative term, but Noah's video was by far the sloppiest thing that I've seen. And like the fact that it was so deconstructed so well, these people will never listen to it. And the problem is, you're right, it's just another, like, they just want to target. There's so many better targets for them that actually, like,
dude, there's shit happening right now.
Once again, it's just hard to understand what Mutahar is saying. It's like Noah Samsen's slop video, and I know people say that that slop is an insult, but it was slop. It was a slop video, and it was so well deconstructed, and there are so many targets, but they just want to target people. Like, I know what he's trying to say, but his speech is just so disjointed. They just want to target? I mean, dude, the reason they're like, and this is the thing. Does Ethan and Mutahar think that people that are speaking out against Palestine aren't also targeting the politicians that are in control of facilitating this genocide? Do they think that they are the only targets? Or do they just have this bias where when people will be like, oh yeah, and Ethan Klein and Mutahar are also being like both sidesing of a genocide? At least, actually, Ethan blames Hamas for the genocide. And then people like call them out on it. They're like, why aren't you targeting anyone else? Like, there's other genocides happening. There's other people that are way more pro-genocide than us. Why aren't you targeting them? It's like, we are, bro. We are. But the other thing is, like, Ethan and Mutahar are both actively making content on this shit. They're more on the same level of engagement as No Samsen, Hassan, Denims, whoever else is making videos about them, and they actually respond to this shit. So it's like, okay, if you respond to it, maybe you'd actually understand people's criticisms of you, and maybe there's a chance you could change. Politicians don't respond to it, but people are like, there's hundreds of thousands of people still protesting politicians to try to bring about an end to this genocide. We literally have politicians trying to get other politicians to stop this.
Wow. Hassan just spent like another 2 hours talking about me on his stream. It's like, bro, there's shit happening right.
Yeah, that's true to Garlic Fries. Like, they're not talking about the content of Noah Samsen's video and how it's defamatory. They're not actually like addressing any of Noah Samsen's points. Maybe they will in the next section, but right now they're just complaining about like Hassan.
Now, dude, like actual shit. Like what, like, dude, there's yeah.
It's like there are so many targets out on the
now, dude, like hours talking about me on his stream. It's like, bro, there's shit
I love it so much when Ethan tries to pretend that Hassan is the one obsessed with Ethan, when like Hassan will spend 2 hours talking about Ethan maybe once a week, if it's like a week where Ethan does something especially egregious, and Ethan spends multiple hours in his podcast where he does it like 3 or 4 times a week attacking Hassan, and then we'll also be posting Instagrams of like Hassan's nudes and be like, look at how stupid Hassan is, I can't believe he poses like this. Like, bro, you're saying Hassan's obsessed with you and he doesn't focus on any other important issues other than you?
Happening right now, dude. Like actual shit. Like what like, dude. There's yeah.
It's like there are so many targets out in the world that probably deserve like actual criticism. So it's like when you're going after like the actual Palestinian supportive voices, it's insane. Like I hate the co-opt use of these guys. Like you're targeting pro-Palestinian voices. I'm like, you can be very pro-Palestinian. I am. You can also not be siding with terrorism. Like to go back to my history.
Okay, so they're like, there are so many other people to criticize, but they're choosing to criticize me. Like, okay, they're also criticizing other people. And then he's like, I can't believe you'd go after me, a pro-Palestinian voice. Why would you go after me? It's like, well, Mutahar, maybe the reason people go after you is because you took a statement made by Asmongold saying Palestinians are inferior, and since their culture is built off of the idea of genociding their opponents, they deserve to be genocided themselves. And you said, first of all, you laughed at it. Then you're like, well, I don't think anyone should be genocided. But Asmongold probably wasn't talking about genociding all Palestinians. He was just probably talking about the extremists, saying the extremists, like the fundamentalist extremist Muslims, had the inferior culture. It's like your first instinct is to defend the shit that Asmongold says. But yeah, keep crying and saying, I'm pro-Palestinian. Why would you go after me when there's actually Zionists out there? They're going after the Zionists too. I mean, you're probably a Zionist yourself, but they're going after people that self-identify as Zionists. They can do both.
Like post 9/11, if you grew up as a Muslim in North America, like you got looks, you know. I believe one of the first hate crimes against Muslims siding with terrorism. Like to go back to my history, like co-opt use of these guys, like you're targeting pro-Palestinian voices. I'm like, you can be very pro-Palestinian. I am. You can also not be siding with terrorism. Like to go back to my history, like post 9/11, if you grew up as a Muslim.
I mean, dude, this is the thing though. This is the thing Mutahar doesn't understand. To be pro-Palestinian means understanding that the violence coming out of Palestine is a result of Israel's imperialism. That's what we're talking about. And so when Mutahar says, I'm pro-Palestinian, but I oppose all violence that Palestinians do, it's like, that's great. You want to stop the violence coming out of Gaza? Then target Israel. That's all the people are saying. They're not saying you have to be in favor of Hamas. You have to be in favor of like Sharia law or whatever the fuck Hamas does. You have to be in favor of launching rockets into Israel. All the people are saying is you have to understand that Gaza is an open air prison. People do not have the same kind of rights and self-determination that other citizens of other countries have. And you have to understand that because of Israel's actions, that necessitates violent resistance against Israel. That's the nature of an occupying force. Like, it's an occupying force because they're using force. They are using violence to expand their borders and impose their will and their laws on the people of Gaza and on the West Bank too, but we'll stay focused on Gaza. We're not saying you have to support the fucking violence, but what we are saying is, in order to be a Palestinian supporter and to be like a pro-Palestinian voice, you need to understand that this violence is a result of Israel's actions. And it seems like Mutahar is throwing his hands up and being like, I don't support the violence, but why are you guys not holding Palestine and Hamas to any kind of account? You should be condemning Hamas. You should be saying that just cut it out, Hamas. Cut it out. Cut out all of the violence, and then maybe Israel will stop genociding you. And that just shows like a fundamental lack of understanding of how this issue works.
North America, like, you got looks, you know? I believe one of the first hate crimes against, after 9/11 was towards like a Sikh individual, right? Not even a Muslim person. It's just because they wore a turban and they looked very similar to, you know, that's what colloquially we believed like the Muslim hijacker to look like. I do have to research that a little bit more, but it's one of the things that struck to me. And it's like, when you grow up in an environment like that, to me, I always like, I'm a fucking Canadian first, North American, whatever. I believe in supporting my community. I believe in like the freedoms and help of like everyone around.
Like, this is a little bit anti-Canadian slander that I'm going to throw out there, but I do love how Mutahar sneaks in, I'm North American. So he's like, instead of saying I'm American, he's like, yeah, I'm North American. Which, it's just funny. It's like, I think that like Canadians have a bit of, I'm an American too, online syndrome. I mean, yeah, it's like, no hate to Canadians. I love Canadians.
I believe in just everyone getting along. Like, it's the most hippie shit that I can come up with and say, and that's really what my beliefs are. And as a Muslim growing up, it's like there's billions of us around the world. Obviously, it's pretty safe to say not all of us support violent terror groups.
So what I find really funny is Mutahar is actually giving an argument that people use against Zionism. People will use the argument saying that why, like, Israel should not insist that it represents all Jewish people, because then people will hear that Israel, a violent occupational imperialist state that's carrying out genocide, is a representative of all Jews. And then they will see, maybe they'll see like a Jewish person wearing the Star of David, and they'll be like, that is a symbol of genocide, and I'm going to assume like you're genocidal. That gives a negative impact to people of the ethnicity that an ethno-state is claiming it's representative of everyone of that ethnicity. That's why ethno-states are bad. That's why Israel hiding behind the idea where if you criticize it, you're being anti-Semitic, is harmful. It's harmful to all Jews, whether they live in Israel, whether they live anywhere else in the world. Mutahar is actually making this argument, but for Muslims. And this is a good argument to make. Dude, like, it's not a dumb thing for Mutahar to say. It's not a dumb thing to say that, like, yeah, Islamophobia is on the rise. And I think that because, like, Palestinians are violently resisting Israel, white people, like, let's just say white people in the West and around the world are going to see Muslims and they're going to be like, oh, like, all Muslims support violent terrorism. That's not a dumb thing for Mutahar to say, because it's actually true, and we did see a spike in Islamophobia with our war on terror. But the issue with what he's saying is, once again, this is due to American imperialism. These like violent resistance movements that are popping up are a result of American imperialism in the region. And so the solution isn't to say, okay, I'm not going to support Hamas anymore. Like, no one supports Hamas. People aren't being Islamophobic because Hassan is saying that, oh yeah, Palestinians are just like a naturally violent people, or Hamas is representative of all Muslim people. That's not what Hassan is saying, and that's not why people are Islamophobic. People are Islamophobic because our media, it does portray the enemies of Israel as barbaric and kind of like a backwards people where they just want Jews to be killed. That's at least the prevailing narrative right around October 7th and in the entirety of like the war on terror as well, like even before October 7th. So once again, like, the issue isn't Hassan, it's actually the reason that people are racist against Muslims is because of imperialism.
In fact, we're very much against it. And I guess if anything I can say is like, I'm firmly against groups like that, but that doesn't mean I'm against the plight of an entire group of people that are not all terrorists. You know, it's just insane that this is like this.
But just once again, he's saying, I am firmly against Hamas. That doesn't mean I'm against the plight of the Palestinians. But supporting the plight of the Palestinians is understanding that their position facilitates them like violent resistance from Palestinian people. Their position understanding the Palestinian position means that you understand their motivations in fighting against Israel. And also, like, yeah. Like, you can also make the claim that launching rockets into Israel out of Gaza isn't an act of terrorism, it's an act of self-defense, because like, he's not going to call the bombings that Israel does into Gaza an act of terrorism. He'd call that self-defense.
It should be such a normal take that everyone has. And in the eyes of the most extreme left, suddenly you're like a genocide supporter for having the most normal take imaginable. Like something that anybody should think. Like,
once again, guys, this is an uninformed position from Mutahar here. Like, this is a very stupid thing to say. I'm not against Palestinians, I'm just against terrorism. It's like, yes, that's all well and good. That's a fine position to have. That's fine. It's a very, like, surface level, but it's fine. It's perfect. What's not perfect is when then you go on and you criticize people that are given voices to Palestinians, that have interviewed Palestinians, that have put their careers on the line to platform like pro-Palestinian ideals and to talk about the atrocities that Israel has committed. That is not fine. And that's what Mutahar has done, and that's what he's been criticized for by Noah Samsen. Noah Samsen didn't criticize him for saying, I don't support terrorism. He never said that. What he criticized him for doing is saying that when Hassan interviews a survivor of a genocide in Yemen, Mutahar says, oh, Hassan's like a terrorist sympathizer, or says that I don't know, Hassan should get banned off of Twitch because he's watched like Houthi propaganda music videos.
it's insanity. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like actually baffled.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they pushed it so far to the point where there needs to be accountability. Like, there needs to be. They forced us into a corner in which, like, there's pretty much the only way to hold these people accountable. And the unfortunate thing is people like George Janitis, the human STD, and people like Noah Samsen, they are materially rewarded. They get no pushback from their community. They get plugged. They get massively shouted out and supported by Hassan and co. So for them, they...
Just once again, guys, people have been fired from their jobs in media for criticizing Israel. People have been deported from the United States for criticizing Israel. People have been denied entry into the United States for criticizing Israel. But according to Ethan, it is a profitable grift if you are pro-Palestinian. Ethan has no idea the context of the world that he's living in.
You just see green lights all the way. Like, oh yeah, the more I lie, the more malicious that I be about this person, the more views, the more... Hassan's going to put me on for sure. Just as mean as I can be about Mutahar or Ethan or anyone that's talked bad about him.
It's so funny. It's like, yeah, saying that you and Mutahar supported genocide is being mean to you guys. I mean, bro, why? Like, this is the thing. These guys don't even think a genocide is happening. They literally don't think a genocide is happening. Ethan has called what's happening in Gaza a war. In the last few weeks, Mutahar is like, yeah, I don't know what Mutahar says, but when Asmongold says, oh, the Palestinians should be genocided for their inferior culture, he's just like, like, he's probably just talking about the extremists. So that also implies that Mutahar disagrees with Asmongold that a genocide is happening. He's like, nah, Asmongold's just talking about a specific subsection of the population. Yeah, like, these guys don't even believe it's happening, and they're like, stop being mean to me.
So they've created this atmosphere, and listen, it's time for some accountability.
No, 100% agree on there, and that's like why, like, again, like I said, I normally wouldn't go the litigious.
Yeah, the other thing that's funny is, like, Ethan saying that these guys are profiting off this shit is definitely just an example of hypocrisy. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. It's like, dude, if these people have profited off of covering this genocide, which isn't even the proper way of putting it, profiting off of it, what have you done? You've profited off of targeting these people. That's what you've gotten so much money, apparently, that you can just waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers' fees by attacking these people continuously.
This route, but like, again, the more I read the letter that Rom had wrote, I'm like, it's insane. Like, I've never seen defamation this clear and like removed. It was so matter of fact, you know, that it's just impossible to not go forward with it. And on the topic of like guys like Hassan or whatever, I think it's a great point to also mention. It's like a lot of it does get really exacerbated when you've got one of the largest political streamers in the world going at you, constantly signal boosting stuff that, you know, you should be checking, right? Like, I'm sorry, when there's something fucked up that comes out, if anybody gets a serious accusation against them, whether it be, you know, again, genocide supporting or, you know, getting involved with minors or whatever, it's like, it is your duty, even if you're just signal boosting, to ensure.
Or getting involved with a minor, that's what he said? Is that a reference to his buddy like throwing lolly porn on his thumbnails or shit like that?
Sure, the validity of the source, right? This is a guy that's been on news and people have talked about him as being like one of the greatest parsers and like one of the greatest political figures, and I find it so bullshit. Like,
one of the greatest
the fact
parsers.
That me, who
Hassan just sits there and he's like, this information is factual, this information is false, this information is good, this information is iffy. I am the greatest parser of our generation. What the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck has ever called Hassan a good parser?
who's just an engineer, like the fact that I can parse through all of this stuff better than quote unquote the biggest political streamer is embarrassing. It's shocking to me. And honestly, I think like he should have more accountability, but he'll probably look at this and say, oh, it's just SlopTuber getting mad at me. It doesn't matter. Ha ha ha. It's like,
he won't address
insanity.
anything we're saying. He'll just say that we're exploiting the legal system because we know he's right. Like he'll twist into something like, oh, he knows it. That's why they're suing. That's why they're trying to silence him. But
dude,
Hassan,
you know
it's not that
insane too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you the most insane thing. When they say that, it's like I always have to remind people. I'm like, I know where this case is going. It's the fucking state of California, the most free speech supporting state when it comes to cases involving this. I would not go forward with this if I didn't feel that there was something palatable to have.
Absolutely.
All this, my wife has said the perfect thing. It's like the moment we talked about it, suddenly everyone on the left became a fucking legal expert, you know? Suddenly everyone has become like a fucking lawyer. I'm like, if you think that there is no like actual case to be made, I don't see the amount of like coping involved. Like, I don't understand.
I just find it funny how, like, am I wrong in this? Or would a lawyer that's working with a wealthy client who does like suing people always be like, oh yeah, I think you have a case here. You should definitely pay me money to carry out this case. And like Ethan has said it himself. Ethan's happy if he loses lawsuits. He's happy if he loses because he knows that he has more money than the people he's targeting and he can afford to spend more on legal fees. So even if he loses a lawsuit, he's still happy and he still thinks that's a victory because he's ruined the life of the person that he's targeted. So like, do these guys act like I just feel like their lawyers, in what world would their lawyers be like, no, you have no chance of defamation here? Of course they're going to fire off a lawsuit at Noah Samsen. Why would they not? Like, if they lose, so what? These guys aren't going to care. They're getting a tons of publicity for being like the YouTubers who stood up to anti-Semitism, or the YouTubers that stood up to a terrorist supporting YouTuber in Noah Samsen. They fought the radical left, and even if they lost, they still got him to take down his video or whatever. Like, their lawyers are always going to say they have a case of defamation.
Understand why there's so much coping for this. Like, let it play out.
Well,
because
so
I feel there is a solid case.
The coping is because, again, they're.
Oh, they said no to suing Reddit? Okay, that's fair. Bro, Ethan was gonna sue Reddit? That's hilarious. But in that case, I mean, think about it. In that case, it's like it's an actual corporation that has corporate lawyers, so they'd probably get their asses handed to them in court. But now they're suing a YouTuber. Why would they not do it?
They knowingly lie. They have no responsibility to be factual. It's on us. It's like, it's up to us to be factual and to correct the record and to care about words. For them, it's just like, it's just a play where they get to say and do whatever they want.
Bro, just remember, Ethan characterized Noah Samsen's latest video by saying he's calling for assassination threats to Ethan Klein when he said, we need to escalate things. And the implication was by making more, by like calling these people out more. And Ethan's like, he's calling for my murder. Guys, Noah Samsen sending agents to kill me. Like, Noah Samsen literally said in his last video that he wants to kill me. And now he's saying, we have to be careful in our words. Your fucking wife was a part of the IDF terrorist organization. And she called Yoav Gallant like a good guy, and then you guys went on to defend the idea that Yoav Gallant was a good guy, and you're saying you have to be careful in your words. Like, you're saying Rashid al-Haddad was a terrorist, and you have definitive proof that he's a terrorist that Hassan brought onto his stream and like sucked his cock on. Like, Ethan is so far in a delusional land where he's like, when Rashid al-Haddad went onto Hassan's stream, he had the Houthi flag flying behind him that said death to all Jews flying behind him on Hassan's stream. It's like, bro, you're so delusional. And he has to be careful with his words. He's the one that needs to be careful with his words. Give me a fucking break, dude.
To smear you. And just to go back to what you said about Hassan, you being better at parsing, listen, Hassan's a smart guy. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Why is Ethan agreeing with this parlance of like, oh, who's the better parser between the two of you? What? Once again, dude, Hassan literally just reacts to people for a living. That's his job. I mean, you can say that's parsing through information, but he doesn't, whatever. He doesn't really pre-watch it. If he sees something that's wrong, he'll call it out. If he sees something that's right, he'll agree with it. I mean, just, whatever. Like, he watches Fox News.
He knows that it's wrong. He knows that it's a fucking lie, and he just sits there. And when it's a lie, like he was watching a George Janitis human STD video, and George says something like, Klein, who's famously a terrorist that likes to kill babies, something to the effect of that. He's just like, He's like,
okay, I'd love to find this clip. I don't know if it exists, though. I was looking for it. I can't find it in any of the Hassan reactions to Bad Empanada videos.
Just no comment. No comment.
I think that's so wild too, because it's like, I don't know Hila on a personal level, but I imagine that Hassan knows her because of your guys' like prior podcast work. It's like, every time I see like the anti-Hila train coming out.
Oh, here it is. H3 Productions.
Anyway, let's continue. Is he a terrorist? He's an Arab in Yemen. Why else would he be a terrorist, right? Someone who, by the way, like, what terrorist attack has he committed? What terrorist attack has he committed? I can point to a terrorist attack that Klein has participated in. What terrorist attack did this guy participate in? Could you point to that for us? Which one? What did he do? I'd like to offer, I believe his name is Rashid Al-Khalidi. We will crowdfund a GoFundMe so you can sue whichever one of these people you choose. This guy could be the easy target. There's precedent for this working because, for example, Sacha Baron Cohen's video Bruno, he framed a random Palestinian grocer as like a terrorist, and he ended up having to pay that guy hundreds of millions of dollars in a defamation case, or at least tens of millions. Rashid, my friend from Yemen, you have a chance at a huge payout here, and we will gladly crowdfund you. Pick like the most egregious of them, calling you a terrorist.
I speak Arabic. Rashid didn't say any of that. Your translator speaking another dialect. Levantine opposed to Rashid's Yemeni dialect. He never said he took caught with the captain or the crew.
Wait, what? Where? Did I miss it? Also, that's interesting because there was a weird area in that interview where Rashid said, they did caught with the captain and crew. They convinced the captain and crew to like hate America. And it's like, okay, when the translator says they, is he referring to Rashid did it with like a group of other Yemeni people? Or is he saying that Rashid said they did caught with the captain and crew? As in Rashid's referring to the Houthis doing caught with the captain and crew. That was something that I was wondering about. But either way, it wasn't extremely clear. Where is the... Wait, did I miss the part where he says that Hila is a baby killer? Hassan with no reaction when BE says Hila participated in a terrorist attack. Okay, let's just run that one back.
Anyway, let's continue. Is he a terrorist? He's an Arab in Yemen. Why else would he be a terrorist, right? Someone who, by the way, Like, what terrorist attack has he committed? What terrorist attack has he committed? I can point to a terrorist attack that Klein has participated in. What terrorist attack did this guy participate in? Could you point to that for us? Which one? What did he do? I'd like to offer. I believe his name is Rashid Al Khalidi.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, she said she went into an illegal raid on Ramallah in the West Bank. She raided Ramallah and they kidnapped a Palestinian from there. So what is this? Oh, I watched a video on stream and now indoors. So, do they have anything? This is the type of shit that makes Hassan completely disgusting to me. This whole time he watched his fans and others call Hila a baby killer and never corrected them. He can be mad at Ethan for his opinions, but to allow people to spread hateful lies about a woman and mother. What? What lies did he spread? Does anyone, like, Hila literally gave a story where she's like, yeah, I did an illegal raid in Ramallah as part of a terrorist group, the IDF. Like, where like the vast majority of the world, except for like every country in the world except for the United States, wants to give Palestine sovereignty, and the United States and Israel is like, nah, no, we don't want them to. We want the IDF to be able to do whatever they want. Is there anything where someone says, okay, well, she did go on a raid? I mean, okay, so here we go. Like, you have to scroll a lot. I mean, she openly did participate in raids on civilian houses in the West Bank without cause. She's spoken about it on the pod years ago. Wait, so someone's just like openly stating the truth and no one's actually responding to it at all? This is hilarious. And of course, Ethan says, Hassan listened to Bad Empanada say Hila is a baby killer. Bro, Ethan can't open his mouth without defaming someone. I mean, dude, like, yeah, you're suing Noah Samsen. Are you gonna sue Hassan next? I mean, the guy's just nuts. He's nuts. I'm telling you guys, he comes up with his own skewed versions of reality. Like in Ethan's head, Hassan had Rashid al-Haddad on his stream. Rashid had a gun in his hand. He had the Houthi flag in the background that said death to Jews. And then they were just like laughing about all of the terrorist acts that Rashid did. That's the world that exists in Ethan's head. Holy shit, bro. This is so embarrassing.
Just no comment. Sits there, and when it's a lie, like he was watching a George Janitis human STD video, and George says something like, Ela Klein, who's famously a terrorist that likes to kill babies, something to the effect of that. He's just like, He's like, just no comment. No,
Bad Empanada said that she participated in a terrorist attack. Or like, did he say attack or raid? Either way, that's what he said. He didn't say Hila she in particular is a terrorist that likes to kill babies.
I think that's so wild too, because it's like, I don't know Ela on a personal level, but I imagine that Hassan knows her because of your guys' like prior podcast work. It's like, every time I see like the anti-Ela train coming out there, it's like, so she did mandatory service. Okay, now she's like a fucking baby killer or something, right? Like, it's just it's one of those things where it's like massive jump in logic, you know, and nobody sits down and explains it. And I think it's honestly, in that situation, it's one thing if like a fucking Nick Fuente said it, right? Like, sure, we know what he's going with.
Yeah.
But it's another thing when like Hassan, who is like supposed to be more, it's somebody who's actually connected to Ela. The fact that he co-signs it, it's like,
it's unforgivable for me.
Yeah, it's just, it's like, dude, you have no, like, you're just, again, it's just willfully being ignorant of like facts. He knows the fact. He knows the fact more than the average person commenting on it, but he just chooses to let it happen because you guys are enemies now. We're all enemies.
The funny thing is, before this all happened, Hassan was the biggest fan of Teddy Fresh. He was wearing it all the time. He was asking us for it. Now, by the way, Ela's military service and all this stuff,
Bro, okay, guys. Hassan gave out Teddy Fresh. Like, Hassan had a bunch of merchandise from all of the shows that he's been on where people have sent him merchandise, because when Hassan, who averages like 30K live viewers every single day, wears someone's clothing, then maybe that's good advertising for their clothing. So Hassan goes onto all of these other YouTube channels. They all send him merchandise and he promotes it for them. He had a giant amount of clothing in his closet. He gave it to homeless people on Skid Row and humanized the homeless people, treating them like actual real people. That was done in December of last year. That was done like 4 months ago. And Ethan hasn't said shit about it, but now he's gonna bring it up and be like, Hassan's shitting on my clothes, he's giving it to the unhoused. And they're like, Hassan was so greedy, he always loved my clothes, but now he's being a hypocrite, and just because he doesn't like me, saying that my clothing brand is trash.
Facts. He knows the fact. He knows the fact more than the average person commenting on it. But he just chooses to let it happen because you guys are enemies now. We're all enemies.
The funny thing is, before this all happened, Hassan was the biggest fan of Teddy Fresh. He was wearing it all the time. He was asking us for it. Now, by the way, Hila's military service and all this stuff, that's public knowledge. Nothing has changed at all in terms of like what they criticize her for. So Hassan was happily walking around in Teddy Fresh, the biggest fan ever.
When did Hassan criticize Hila for being in the IDF? He didn't, and I fucking love this, where Ethan's like, Hila lived in Israel, and if you don't join the IDF, you're gonna be like socially ostracized if you don't join the IDF and you're Jewish in Israel. Guys, okay, there's a lot to say here. Hila is in favor of the mandatory draft. That's part of the reason why she said Yoav Gallant is a good guy, because Yoav Gallant was targeting the Hasidic Orthodox Jews in Israel to try to get them drafted because they had a religious exemption to the draft because they didn't want to do violence. They're like non-violent. She's like, no, the mandatory draft should be expanded to more people. So instead of being like, I think this is unfair, why do we have to be drafted? She's like, I think this is unfair. Why don't they have to be drafted? So first of all, Hila is in favor of the mandatory draft. She's literally like defending the expansion of it. She thinks that's a good idea. So first and then second, Hassan has never criticized her for joining the IDF because that's kind of it's kind of a dumb thing to criticize someone for. Like, you're just a teenager when you join the IDF. Ethan is trying to make the claim that Hassan doesn't like Teddy Fresh because now he doesn't like Hila. So that's funny, rather than the clothing's just ugly. And then the last point on this is that Ethan is defending his wife for joining the IDF because you'd be socially ostracized if you didn't join it, and simultaneously attacking like a 19-year-old Yemeni who survived a genocide and saying, he's a militant, he should be basically killed by the United States because he grew into violence due to his social conditions. So this is a double standard here. If you are a militant in Palestine, you're a terrorist. If you're a militant in Yemen, you're a terrorist. But if you're a militant in Israel, then you're just an innocent teenager who is just socially pressured into it. This is the double standard that Ethan Klein has for people. And where is Mutahar saying, I just don't, like, I just want peace on both sides, but I'm just not going to support Israel. I'm not going to support the IDF because I don't want Jews to be associated with the IDF. He has a pretty clear look at how Muslims are associated with terrorism when we're talking about Muslim countries and their military being maligned as an extremist, like, violent group. He's like, I don't want Muslims to be associated with Hamas, but where's this shit when it comes to Israel and their association of all Jewish people with a violent extremist organization in the IDF? This is a clear double standard. I just think it's so funny that Ethan can't come up with it. Oh, okay, let's continue. That was a lot from one comment. But yeah, it's a double standard, and it stems from racism, because Ethan does see Muslims as different from Jews, and he does see this, that Israel needs to be distinct from, it needs to be a distinctly Jewish state.
Fresh, he was wearing it all the time. Before this all happened, Hassan was the biggest fan of Teddy Fresh. He was wearing it all the time. He was asking us for it. Now, by the way, Hila's military service and all this stuff, that's public knowledge. Nothing has changed at all in terms of like what they criticize her for. So Hassan was happily walking around in Teddy Fresh, the biggest fan ever. Hila was already on the record as being a fucking member of mandatory IDF service. But now all of a sudden, with the same facts, right? Now all of a sudden he's giving away Teddy Fresh to homeless people.
So this is funny. He's like, because now he doesn't like Hila, he's giving away her clothing.
On Skid Row and saying I never liked it. That shit's ugly as fuck. Like, bro, what the fuck? Not that I care, but like he was the one asking for it.
Not that I care, but I'm just remembering something Hassan did 4 months ago and insulting my wife's company, and I'm going to say that he's just doing it because he doesn't like my wife anymore. Not that I care.
He was asking us for it.
It always just feels like somebody that
Hassan was promoting my brand by pretending to like every single thing in my store and being like, oh, first of all, he wasn't asking them for it. He was like, oh, like, I distinctly remember they were going, like, okay, fuck this shit, fuck this. I'll just explain it. I don't know, should I explain it or pull up a clip? I'll try to explain it while I pull up a clip. They were going through the fucking storefront on their website, and Hassan was like, that's sick, that's really cool, promoting Ethan Klein's clothing. And then Ethan would say, I'm gonna send everything that you like to you. That's not asking for it. Okay, this might be it. Wait, maybe this isn't it. Shoot. It's on Teddy Fresh. Hassan comes where Teddy Fresh is responding to Ethan's murder. Oh, man. That's the only to Teddy Fresh. Oh, I think this might have been it. If this is what I remember. Yeah, this was it.
Rocking the fucking Teddy Fresh. Ethan Klein in the building. 2022 leftovers era. God damn. Damn, that was a fit. That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing. So you finally admit most is hideous? I'm not saying anything.
I do want to. I was literally like ordering a bunch of stuff off the Teddy Fresh website.
TeddyFresh.com to release.
I saw a shirt and I was like, yo, that shirt's sick. He's like, you want it? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
But yeah, I want.
Yeah.
That's the only Teddy.
Ordering a bunch of stuff off the Teddy Fresh website.
TeddyFresh.com to release.
I saw a shirt and I was like, yo, that shirt's sick. He's like, you want it? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and so
That's the only Teddy Fresh
Hassan's
that I
like,
actually really liked.
Hassan's like, I saw a shirt and I said, hey, that's a cool shirt. And Ethan's like, you want it?
But yeah, I want the oil spill shirt. We already put that down.
You got this one, the one I'm wearing. Yeah.
I want the oil spill pants. I guess it has to.
The
go
shorts.
along with it.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
I want that Teddy Skull and Crossbones sweater, triple XL if you have it.
Which color?
The red one.
That's
like, guys, this is literally an advertisement for their clothes.
Yeah, I like that.
Dude, how nice is that?
That's cool.
We call it, it's a kind of a special technique we have. It's called watercolor brushed tie-dye.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah, it's dope.
I've never seen that before.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
It's very unique.
I like the Teddy Fresh one in the middle too.
This one?
Between the two cardigans, yeah, that one.
I'll get you that one.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
Oh my god, this editing's so
that
painful.
Polo t-shirt.
This one?
Yeah.
That's for women.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
Railroad denim carpenter pants.
These?
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, these I can get you.
Oh, really?
What's your waist size?
38.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
They're pleated?
Fuck yeah, they're pleated, bro.
Okay, I want those too.
That's the only Teddy Fresh shit that I actually really liked wearing.
This is Hila's original art, by the way. Don't hurt my feelings, of course.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Okay, anyway, they're like, oh, we'll get you, and then in other things, he's like, oh yeah, I got you a big bag of Teddy Fresh. It's so, like, bro, even it's funny to me that Ethan's trying to make the argument that now that Hassan doesn't like Eli, he doesn't like her clothes, when they included this clip where Hassan doesn't seem too happy about this. Ethan's like, this is her original art, and Hassan's like, it's wonderful. It doesn't seem ecstatic to have that. Anyway, where the fuck what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about Ela being in the IDF.
Is stuck so far into that like high school like mentality, that college mentality, where it's like there's just no, I want to say, adulthood to it. I talked about this with my wife too, like about like Hassan and everything. Every time I hear like Hassan or Noah talk, it comes from a place of people that don't like, that just never have had to do anything. Like I always notice how Hassan brings up like his Turkish background and everything. Like so I'm an immigrant. Like I was born back home. My brother was born here. So and by basically being born back home, I'm talking like a couple months, and then I moved here. So by all intents, we're an immigrant family. And we never grew up with like a silver spoon. My dad did like fucking medical school twice. We're talking like, because his license from back home was never validated when it came here. So, you go through the ringer basically 2 times in his life. Not super fun, but we grew up pretty normal. And then every time I hear this guy talk, it's like, dude, you grew up in like the nicest parts of the country. You grew up where like I watched through like Hollywood movies, right? Like when you live in an area like Hollywood, when you live so close to like Sunset Drive, you live in a tourist area. It's like, dude, you have all the privilege in the world. You've never had to go through anything in your life. And now you're going to sit here and like preach to a bunch of people, how they should feel when you've never lived that life. You've never lived the life of a struggle. You've never seen things through the people you're constantly trying to champion for. It's shocking to me how an audience like that exists, and then they become so lazy that they don't even do any research into like claims that these people make or like the attacks they send out. It's taking advantage of a lazy audience, and it's just like a bunch of privileged fucks getting away with.
Yeah, I don't know if you know.
Cosplay.
I don't know if you know Hassan's origin story. His parents are extremely wealthy. His mom is a landlord of like many commercial buildings, which is ironic because Hassan famously said landlords should be pulled into the street and the street should run red with their blood. His mom is a prolific landlord. His dad is a member of like one of the largest Turkish military political parties. They're very, very wealthy. In fact, Hassan, Turkey also has mandatory service, but Hassan actually...
Yeah, like I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, is Mutahar married? He never mentions his wife at all. I've never heard him mention his wife. But yeah, this is such fucking stupid shit. They're like, oh, not only is Noah Samsen defaming us, but he's profiting off of it too. And did you know that Hassan is rich? He's never had to work a day in his life. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I thought this was about defamation. Like, they're just jerking off about how bad Hassan is now. It's not interesting content. It's just 2 fucking spiteful husks of people just joining together and having a collective tear and cry over Hassan.
They sent him off to college. By the way,
oh, yeah, I saw some of these posts where it's like literally AI saying that Hassan's dad is worth $5 billion. And it's like insane that people are believing this. It's literally just complete AI websites being like, Hassan's dad used cutting edge business tactics to maneuver his way up through the Turkish business scene. And he focused on developing industries, and that's how he was able to make his money. I gotta show you guys this. This was fucking hilarious. Okay, so there was something that was just so funny to me. Yeah, I think it was this one. I think it was this post. So this post is hilarious. This post is really funny. And it's titled, I want to be a billionaire so fucking bad, buy all the things I've never had. So this guy does like an effort post. He's like on his phone, maybe taking a shit or something. And he's like, oh, did I miss a gifted sub? Thank you, Vincent, so much for the gifted subs. Everyone say thanks to Vincent. Man, garlic fries, you are missing out. You're just like missing out on all of the gifted subs. Okay. Yup, a DDGer made an AI. Oh, it was a Destiny orbiter? They used all of that as evidence. Okay, but this is funny. My father is not a billionaire. Hasanabi reacts. So they screenshot that. Then they're like, your dad, Mehmet Beckett Piker, was a vice president of a Fortune 5. I don't even know what this is from. But what's funny is if you search this up, Mehmet Piker. Oops, I misspelled it. Mehmet Piker. You search it, or I think it's like if you search up his father is Mehmet Beckett Piker, alternative history fandom. Wait, what is this website? An alternative history fandom? When I searched this up, it was like, it wasn't talking about Hassan's father. It was like a bunch of AI websites saying that it was Hassan. Like Hassan was his online alias. It's like weird AI website saying that. Okay, so this is Hassan's father. Threads. His father's a billionaire. Hassan Piker. Okay, I guess I'm not seeing it anymore. Check out professional insights. But anyway, like AI was getting confused. So anyway, they're like, okay, this is your dad. And they go through this rabbit hole. So it's like, oh wow, he founded a political, or he was part of a founding member of 154 founders of a political party in Turkey, or Turkey. Oh my god, guys, the gifted subs, garlic fries. Did you finally get a gifted sub? Thank you so much, everyone that's been gifting subs. So anyway, Future Party. He was part of the Future Party. And the guy highlights it. The ideology is like across the spectrum, basically. And they're trying to resist the current party of Turkey and the founders board. Oh, look at this. Mehmet Beckett Piker is on the founders board, and he's a business person from Istanbul. His resume. We can look at his resume. He graduated from the Faculty of Information, Department of Public Administration. He received his doctorate from Istanbul University in 1991. In his professional life, Dr. Piker worked in various positions in Sabancı Holding, so he worked in all of these businesses. Dr. Piker also represented the Turkish business world in the European Union as a Business Europe delegate and conducted studies analyzing the competitive situation of many industrial and service sectors in the EU. Dr. Piker's company, Arekeb, provided consultancy services on the European Union and competition. So he's literally just like doing economic studies, and they're saying that garlic fries missed enough. Garlic fries, just subscribe yourself, bro. It's 99 cents a month. Just subscribe. Just bite the bullet. Don't rely on luck. Seize your destiny with your own hands and take control. Okay, anyway, so he's a fucking economic consultant that does economic studies, and apparently he's a billionaire with $5 billion. No, they didn't just find a guy. Like, I think this actually is Hassan's dad. It does kind of look like Hassan. But the thing is, so they do this whole deep dive, right? Where you can trace their steps. Okay, garlic fries. You did it. You finally took the plunge. Okay, so look, they do this whole deep dive. This is what's funny to me. They do this whole deep dive where they're like getting deeper and deeper. Oh, we found his dad. We found his Wikipedia. He's part of this party. On the party, we can find his resume. We're going to highlight parts of his resume where like he took part in a business and he did economic studies on the European Union. Then they just immediately jump to an AI-generated website where they're like completely unrelated to any kind of reality. Nextmagazine.co.uk, estimated net worth $5 billion as of 2025. Like, they're literally like, look at this shit. Background: He's a Turkish-American political scientist and economist. Economist. His life and career have significantly influenced his son, Hassan Piker, a well-known political commentator. This is under the influence category. Piker has established a substantial financial empire through various business ventures. It's like the most insanely vague AI shit you can think of. He navigated the competitive landscape of Turkish business up at the top. Like, they're not saying anything. Early life and career beginnings. So then they're obviously like taking this from that resume from that party founders page. And then he's estimated to be worth about $5 billion. Wow, that's a huge number. But where does all this wealth come from? His wealth mainly comes from two sources: real estate and various business ventures. He's invested in numerous properties. He has invested in numerous properties and businesses over the years. This strategy has paid off big time. Like, it's literally the most AI sounding article you can come up with. His investments in the Istanbul real estate market have been particularly successful. And it's not just about buying properties. Piker has a keen eye for identifying lucrative investment opportunities. He knows when to buy and when to sell, making him a smart player in the game. Like, this is insane that someone would read this and be like, no, this is real. This ability to spot good deals has helped grow his net worth. Like, it's the most fucking AI slop you could possibly imagine. This is what killed me, though. The guy reads this entire article and he's like, no, it's not AI. It's a conspiracy. Listen to this. Piker has invested in technology startups, e-commerce, and even political commentary platforms. His ability to adapt and explore different industries shows his entrepreneurial spirit. And the person who screenshotted this and did this whole deep dive put interestingly vague. They're like, no, it's not AI. It's a conspiracy to keep it purposely vague so that people don't find out too much about the way that Piker got rich off of, he must have been doing illicit deals so to make this wealth as a PhD in economics and just like doing studies on the economics of the European Union and how they coalesce with Turkey's economic sectors. They must be hiding something, because how could someone possibly get rich off of that? So the guy who did this deep dive isn't like, nah, I don't believe this shit. Like, someone who does economic studies isn't going to be worth $5 billion. Like, that's one of the richest people in the world if you're worth $5 billion. But he's like, no, it must be a conspiracy. And this article is interestingly vague. This is literally out of a Neil Breen movie. I resign today as president of the bank. Bro, yeah, that's... Bro, Neil Breen was ahead of his time. He, like, is... Maybe if AI was trained off of him, it would sound normal. But I just love how vague this shit is. Like, how obviously AI slop it is. This sector is booming, and Piker is right in the middle of it. His strategic investments in startups help him stay ahead of the curve. This article was funny. I just want to like search it up by myself really quick. What is it called? Nextmagazine.co.uk. Next Magazine. Next Magazine. Where's the Next Magazine? I feel like this browser isn't showing me all of the like unhinged sources. Next Magazine. Anyway, it was funny. It's like, stay tuned to keep updated on this entrepreneur. That's what it said at the end of the article. At least what I saw. It's like, stay tuned for this, like it's some kind of fucking sitcom or drama that you need to stay tuned for. Have you seen the lawyer unironically using Haj Amin al-Hussein in his argument? No, I haven't seen that. Imagine ignoring all other reporters and journalists, including those who have mentioned his family and a bit to his home, and think, yeah, this website I've never heard of is probably correct. It appears to not exist. I think it must have been taken down. I definitely saw it like earlier today. But anyway, these people actually believe it. It's so funny. Okay, so that was a fun little tangent.
Yeah, they local parties. They're very, very wealthy. In fact, Hassan, Turkey also has mandatory service, but Hassan actually they sent him off to college. By the way, yeah, they sent him to college from Turkey, which is fucking extraordinarily expensive for anyone in the world, let alone someone in
What
Turkey.
university did you go to here? Like, was it NYU?
He went to Rutgers, and he went to another one that he got
internationally. That's not cheap at all.
Oh, it's
Like,
it's
fuck.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so he dodged the draft in Turkey. He just fucking dodged the draft in Turkey because his parents are rich.
That's like the insane thing too, because it's like when you got mandatory military service. One of the things that I brought up with like just anytime it was brought up on stream or like I had to correct somebody on like a podcast, I'm like, she has a mandatory military service, right? This is a guy that like got to buy his way out. So it's like, how are you going to shit on somebody that is forced basically by their fucking state to participate in their military like infrastructure? And on Hassan's side, it's like, you're just, dude, imagine being so privileged that draft time comes, your parents just send you off to the most expensive countries in the world to get a fucking education.
That's how it used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, as a socialist, as a communist, and all this types of stuff, I think it was during Vietnam where rich people were paying to get their kids out of the draft. And that became a huge thing now in America. They made that now illegal. But Hassan is literally he's literally Donald Trump with the bone spurs. I mean, he didn't make any medical excuses, but he definitely they'd paid up so he could dodge the draft. And I mean, to me,
it's like,
that's shameful and it's embarrassing. Hila served her country. She did her civic duty. And I think that's a good thing that, regardless, like just in general, right? Outside the scope of like,
not like it's not like she agrees with the practices. Like I've seen her talk about this. It's not like she's a heavily defended person of this. It's like like the mouthpiece for the Israeli Defensive Forces or whatever. So it's shocking to me how that constantly gets like litigated and brought up. Like when it comes to the military, like way back in the day, I'm talking like fucking obviously high school. It's like even when it comes to the military, like there was a point where I didn't have a choice, like money wise, like it was like join the Air Force and like get your engineering degree through there. Because really that was like one of the only options that I have. So now that I like, when I hear this about Hassan, I'm like, dude, it's like when you have choices versus people who don't have choices. And then you're going to tell the people that don't have a choice at the time.
Yep.
To fucking,
that's
you
part
live
of what,
in this like high moral world.
Like Denham's made this video being like, I understand it was mandatory, but she should have gone to prison. That's what I would have done. And it's like, really? Okay, well, that's so nice of you to fantasize about.
Go to prison then.
Don't
pay
they don't
your
have to pay taxes. Hassan and Denham's and all these people don't pay taxes. Go to prison. Be a conscientious objector right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to fantasize.
Yeah, if you know that your government is financing bad people, don't pay taxes.
That's
perfect.
it.
Like now, don't take this advice, audience watching, because I do want you to don't fucking not pay your taxes.
Well, I don't think anybody watching is
yeah, they're not dumb enough to do that. But
like, what is this argument? If you pay your taxes, you're supporting a genocide? Is that what they're saying? Or are they saying if you're against genocide and you think that if you're against genocide, then you are being hypocritical by paying your taxes? Like, they're basically arguing that they're supporting genocide materially by existing in the United States. Guess what? If existing in the United States and paying taxes to the United States government is supporting a genocide, as they are claiming, what is saying I'm going to go to Israel, I'm going to take a trip to Israel? What is that? Once again, dude, if Ethan believes Israel is doing a genocide and he believes paying your taxes is supporting that genocide, then he's saying he supports a genocide. He's paying his taxes, and he's doing worse than just paying his taxes. He's saying, I'm going to go to Israel. I'm going to do propaganda for Israel to show you how awesome it is, and I'm going to spend my fucking money there on a vacation to Israel to visit my family. By this logic, you are a genocide supporter. Like, why are you making this argument, dude? Like, there's a difference between not joining the military and simply existing in a country that is doing atrocious actions. And you can like protest against that and be arrested, although that's not enough for you think, because he's like, but you're still paying taxes. You can not join the military. You can encourage people that are in the military to drop out so that there isn't actually people there to kill the people that like your country's genociding. Does Ethan really think there's no difference between being in the military and paying taxes to a country that's doing horrible shit with your tax money? Oh yeah, and they're gonna say, oh well, you've never went to Gaza, so you're actually like a pussy ass bitch. Yeah, he doesn't believe it's a genocide. They're joking about this. They're like, if you actually like, this is the thing though. Like how can Ethan say you're accusing me of like supporting a genocide when he doesn't believe a genocide? Like, how can Ethan say Noah Samsen is defaming me for supporting a genocide when he doesn't believe a genocide is happening? Like, does Ethan believe a genocide is happening or not? I would say he doesn't. I would say he doesn't, because he's been calling it a war. He's blaming Hamas for it. And he insists on comparing it to October 7th continuously. And if you're comparing what's happening in Gaza to October 7th, you were a genocide denier. He's undercounted the amount of people dead. He doesn't talk about it at all. That seems like he doesn't think it's a genocide. My taxes also pay for schools and roads, which are things I support. Exactly, dude. It's like, I'm participating in society. Yeah, I could fucking kill myself, and that would stop the support of genocide. That would stop my support of genocide. It wouldn't be productive. There are more productive things you can do. These guys are just fucking sitting here smirking. Like, they're literally just villains.
Yeah, they'd paid up so he could dodge the draft, and like,
Yeah,
and I mean, to me,
it's like,
that's shameful and it's embarrassing. Hila served her country; she did her civic duty, and I think that's a good thing. That, regardless, like just in general, right? Outside the scope
it's
of like,
not like it's not like she agrees with the practices. Like, I've seen her talk about this. It's not like she's a heavily defendant person of this. It's like, like the mouthpiece for.
She literally advocates for the expansion of the draft in Israel. She has literally said that before. She's like, Yoav Gallant is doing a good thing by expanding the draft. So yeah, I mean, Mutahar says he's stupid, and he's displaying that stupidity. At least the idea that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
The Israeli Defensive Forces or whatever. So it's shocking to me how that constantly gets like litigated and brought up. Like, when it comes to the military, like way back in the day, I'm talking like fucking obviously high school.
Yeah, that's true too. Oh, when someone is a conscientious objector and someone does want to leave the military, Ethan just makes fun of them. Shout out Aaron Bushnell. Aaron Bushnell was a real one.
It's like even when it comes to the military, like there was a point where I didn't have a choice, like money wise. Like, it was like join the Air Force and like get your engineering degree through there. Because really that was like one of the only options that I have. So the more, now that I like, when I hear this about Hassan, I'm like, dude, it's like when you have choices versus people who don't have choices. And then you're going to tell the people that don't have a choice at the time.
Yep.
To fucking,
that's
you
part
live
of what,
in this like high moral.
Once again, bro, like I'm just going to keep pointing out this double standard. They're like, why are you criticizing Hila for joining the IDF? She has no other choices. But when Hassan interviews someone who survived genocide in Yemen, he's interviewing a terrorist, because apparently if you're in Yemen undergoing a genocide, undergoing a starvation campaign facilitated by the United States, then you have all of the agency in the world, and you have your perfect decision-making faculties to take control of your life and manifest your own destiny. And so he just manifested into a terrorist. There's no other circumstantial material conditions that would force him down this path, and Rashid al-Haddad is not a terrorist. But even if he was, bro, like, even if he was a card-carrying Houthi member, Hassan still has a right to interview him, and by these guys' own logic, they shouldn't be criticizing him. They should be understanding of the conditions that forced him into this line of path. When we're talking about the Palestinians that are resisting Israel through violence, according to these guys' own logic, when it comes to Hila joining the IDF, you should be understanding of the material conditions that influence their path in life and cause them to be in a situation where now they have to violently resist Israel. But those guys are Muslim. Those guys are enemies of the West, and so they're not going to give them the same benefit that they give people of Israel.
World.
Like Denim's made this video being like, you know, I understand it was mandatory, but she should have gone to prison. That's what I would have done. And it's like, really? Okay.
Bro, you don't even go to prison for not joining the IDF. You just get like socially ostracized.
Well, that's so nice of you to fantasize about.
Prison, then.
That's,
don't
why
pay
they
your
don't have to pay taxes. Hassan and Denims and all these people don't pay taxes. Go to prison. Be a conscientious objector right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to fantasize.
Yeah, if you know that your government is financing bad people, don't pay taxes. It's
That's
perfect.
it.
Like now, don't take this advice, audience watching, because I do want you to don't fuck.
Then like, why are you making the claim? Why? Like, bro, this is the thing. They're being so facetious. They're saying things that they, on their face, don't believe in. And like, why would you make the claim? If someone actually believes in social justice and their government is funding bad things, then why would they make the claim for Denims, who is doing that thing, that, oh, just don't pay your taxes, but then to your audience say, don't take that advice? Like, they're literally it's just a fucking joke. It's just a joke at the expense of people they deem as the enemy. It's not serious whatsoever. This is not a serious talking point. And it's also not funny. Like, these guys are supposed to be entertainers.
Not pay your
I don't think
taxes.
anybody watching is
yeah, they're not dumb enough to do that. But if you're so fucking
what? I don't think anybody watching is against genocide. Is that what he's going to say? Because by their logic, if you're against genocide, you should stop paying taxes. But that logic only applies to people that are like speaking out against Ethan. But for Ethan, he's against genocide. His wife is against genocide, but they just like, because of their circumstances, they have to be like tacit endorsers of it. Well, my wife, she grew up in Israel and she'd be socially ostracized. She would be socially ostracized if she didn't join the IDF, so she had to do it. I'm an American citizen. I have to pay taxes. So like, you know, what are we gonna do? You guys shouldn't do that, but like, it's ridiculous stuff that they're saying.
intent, then stop paying your taxes. Fucking, you know, go get the IRS to clap you on the cheeks, get yourself into a prison, and then just fucking make a statement like that. It's insane that like, yeah, anytime you bring this kind of shit up, it's always just a deflection. Like it always was funny too, because it's like, I find it funny how like being so anti-capitalist, right? Like being somebody that's like for the people, like eat the rich. I have never seen a bigger consumer than Hassan Piker when it comes to like buying frivolously needless shit, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
it's incredible.
We all have, you know, like we all have like we all have like nice houses. Like I'm sure like you drive a nice car, I drive a nice car. He drives a nice car too. I know that for a fact.
Because he made
And
a
it's
video
like-
bragging about it.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry,
didn't
yeah,
do
he
that.
bought a Porsche for his fans, which is insane to me because
I love how in these fucking idiots' minds, buying things means you're a capitalist. Once again, this is simply the meme of the peasant saying to the other peasant, I think we should improve society somewhat. And then the other peasant is like, and that you participate in society. How interesting. This is just the meme of that. Being a capitalist means you own capital. Being a capitalist means that your capital is making money for you. You're participating in the game of capitalism. That's what being a capitalist is. Or you're like extracting wealth from your workers disproportionately. That's what being capitalism is. That's what being a capitalist is. These guys don't understand that at all. Hassan has a car. So what? Would it, if the car is just like two wheels that are left and a ratty seat, like at what level is it socialist enough for you? At what level is his like if he didn't spend shit, they'd be like, oh, he's just LARPing as a socialist. He has all of this money, but he doesn't spend it because he wants people to think that he's a socialist. If he donated it all to charity, which he does donate money to charity, they'd be like, well, look at how much money Hassan has, and he's just donating it to try to show that he's not rich, but he actually is. If he doesn't donate money to charity, he doesn't do anything with this money. He's so rich and he never actually gets involved with any kind of activism on the ground. It's just like, shut the fuck up. Engage in the ideas of this. Oh, Hassan has a car, Hassan has a house. Give me a fucking break, dude.
it's like
I bought it for the
you know?
fans. Oh yeah, there's that clip of him in the dealership. I bought it for the fans, guys.
When I went and bought like a really nice car, it never got posted out there, never happened. Like it wasn't like a buy for the fan purchase, but it's like it's funny how like that gets propped up as like let's fight the evil capitalist system, but also participate in it in the most insanely consumerist ways.
Yeah.
And like it's funny too because it's like me and you. I know you run a business, I run a business, and we like I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I'm not like a fucking greedy capitalist like billionaire that's like fucking taking extra bonuses, like not paying my employees. And I know you certainly aren't either. So it's like, why are we demonized? And then this guy who's like,
who doesn't pay his mods, by the way.
Yeah,
his mods are
No
on
mods
stream
being paid,
begging
yeah.
for rent money.
It's just insane how that is their world and it's defended. It's like there's no calling out for it, and we're like held to this insane standard that just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, my favorite thing that I see people do.
Wow, I just say that I'm not on anyone's side. What did Mutahar say? He's like, I'm not neutral on this. I'm just not on anyone's side. That's what he said in the clip. And the insane standard is that he's held to is supporting people that are being genocided. That's the standard. Or like not attacking the people that are supporting the people that are being genocided. That's the standard Mutahar is held to. It's like, wow, like Hassan has a car and I'm being held to an insane standard?
Doing constantly.
Oh yeah, and he's just making fun of Frogan. He's like, he doesn't pay his mods. Frogan's begging for money. Frogan's a streamer. She has a career, bro. I mean, oh my god. I don't have to explain this.
He is. Ethan went after pro-Palestinian voices, therefore he's pro-genocide. It's like Hassan is not the entire fucking Palestinian movement. These people act like it's him. He is.
What? Once again, Ethan says something, immediately responds to something that is not at all what he said. He said, Ethan targets pro-Palestinian voices, therefore he is anti-Palestine. And then he just goes on to say, Hassan is not the entire movement. Take a step back, repeat what you just said. You said, Ethan is going after pro-Palestinian voices. You didn't say, Ethan is going after Hassan, therefore he is anti-Palestine. Like, in Ethan's mind, does he think he's only going after Hassan? Well, I think we know. Like, Ethan's funny. He's like, Hassan is not the movement of, Hassan is not representative of the entire pro-Palestinian movement. It's like, yeah, the movement can't be represented by a single person. But in Ethan's mind, he is representative because Ethan insists on drawing back connections between every single other content creator that he's targeted to Hassan. And he actually thinks Hassan is responsible for all of the harassment that Ethan's gotten. That's why, in Ethan's mind, whenever he criticizes someone who isn't Hassan, it actually is a criticism of Hassan for Ethan, which is funny. That's why you have that cognitive dissonance where he's like, people always say I'm going after pro-Palestinian voices, and guys, Hassan is not the entirety of the movement. So you just said every single person that you're going after, Hassan is behind them. He's like pulling the strings on them. That's what Ethan believes in his convoluted mind.
The one. And it's crazy. It's like you're telling me that just because you're pro-Palestinian, you can't be criticized for anything unrelated or
you know what it is, dude. It's like that South Park episode with like Jesse Jackson being like the emperor of all black people. That's all it is. It's like this guy is the emperor of all Palestinian voices right now. And if you
even though he's not even
him,
Arab, by the way.
Yeah, that's also it's even funny too. It's like I know now. It's like when there was a criticizing, it's like how can Muta be a practicing Muslim? He drank a beer here and there. I'm like. No, I didn't claim to be like a perfect person, but that guy is like he's like culturally there. I'm like this is like a fucking ID card that you sometimes take with you. It's like I don't understand how this guy's supposed to be the biggest voice of reason here, and he's not.
What? Bro, this sounds like Mutahar has some personal issues that he needs to work through. Like he's admitted in this again like 20-30 minute long interview that he's isolated himself off from his family and his other community that he does Eid prayers at. He's now like it's not a good environment for him there either. Like he sounds like a very lonely person, and he seems extremely jealous of Hassan for for being accepted by people.
Palestinian voices right now, and if you
even though he's not
criticize
even
him-
Arab, by the way.
Yeah, that's all.
Zaid BB says, investigation by Al Mayadeen, for example, found many instances where Yemen allowed safe passage of ships after presenting its qualifications through the strait. They also ceased during ceasefire. Yeah, I mean, guys, like they want to call the people in the Houthis in Yemen a terrorist organization, and according to the United States they are, but also before they were bombing the ships, Biden literally took them off of the terrorist watch list, or he took them off of the terror list, and he gave them like a special designation where he's like, okay, let's like have more diplomatic relationships with them, and that's the solution. If you want the Houthis to stop bombing ships, you don't bomb them. You don't go to war with Iran. You have diplomatic relations with the people in Yemen.
Also, you know, it's even funny too. It's like I know now. It's like when there was a criticizing, it's like, how can Muta be a practicing Muslim? He like, you know, drank a beer here and there. I'm like, no, I didn't claim to be like a perfect person, but that guy is like, he's like culturally there. I'm like, this is like a fucking ID card that you sometimes take with you. It's like, I don't understand how this guy's supposed to be the biggest voice of reason here, and he's not even like culturally associated to it. He's not.
What are you talking about? This guy, he's just like, Hassan is a culturally there, and like Hassan's culturally a Muslim, but he takes his card in and out. I'm not gonna, to borrow a word from Mutahar, parse through this anymore, because this just seems like some deep set unresolved issues that Mutahar has that he's taking out on Hassan. So I'm just gonna let that lie there and continue on.
Not like, he's not even. He cannot criticize. He cannot engage with it in a meaningful manner. It's tough to see that, especially somebody in the actual umbrella. Like, and I'll say this, just it doesn't need to be said, but like, I really wish in my lifetime, before I die, I see peace in the Middle East. Like, I hope that every Palestinian and Israeli gets along. I hope that everyone in that region just gets along. To me, it has never made sense why we couldn't get along. We're all like brothers and sisters of the same Abrahamic tree. We should be able to get along, and I hope we do, you know? And recently there were like these anti-Hamas protests, and I looked at that, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Also, guys, I saw this video today. This is hilarious. So Ethan's saying, oh yeah, Elad just had no choice but to join the IDF, and Hassan was a fucking coward, and he's like Trump for leaving service.
Pretty big confession. Now, as someone with Tourette's, I've never been comfortable to fake it. I never faked tics. Actually, no, I did one time. That's not true.
Really?
I was being. Sometimes people make you feel like such an idiot. I was being recruited for the military when I was in Israel, and I told him I have Tourette's, which I guess disqualifies you for the draft.
Wait, you faked tics to get out of the draft?
No, I didn't fake tics. I have Tourette's, but I went for the interview.
Yeah.
And they were asking me questions, and like, my tics aren't always visible.
Right.
It's not always like.
Yeah.
And so they make you feel like such a fucking piece of shit.
That's based.
And so I started doing like this, you know. But those are tics I had.
Yeah.
But I was like, and then when I did that, I felt so stupid. They're like, oh, see, he has tics. Ow.
Nah.
It's and honestly, if
getting out of being drafted into the IDF is the one time
I was not doing the IDF, bro. I was not doing that. I was not doing it. So anyway, I got an exemption because I have Tourette's syndrome. And the one time I did it, it just was so horrible. It felt so bad. People have asked me in my life to do it, and I've always said no. But obviously, that was worth it. But I didn't make money from it. Also, I'm not telling people my Tourette's is cured. Stop it.
So it's just so funny. It's like Ethan literally describing how he got out of mandatory service in the IDF by accentuating his Tourette's. Yeah, and then when he's like, go to prison. Go to prison. If you don't want to be a part of this, then go to prison.
Amazing. And immediately when I go onto like a lot of these guys' streams, it's downplaying it. It's like, this is just Israeli propaganda. I'm like, how do you achieve peace when
Oh,
your
shit, I missed
actual
this.
reaction.
Guys, I'm not going to be able to finish this. I've been going for 3 hours, and I've gotten through, let's see, 55 minutes. I've gotten through like 27 minutes. I've been going for 3 hours. Okay. I'm just going to try to finish this fucking Mutahar interview, and then I'm going to call it. Hey, congratulations for being a 1-month member. Thank you for hanging out in the stream. This has been a fun time.
We should be able to get
we're
along.
almost done with this shit. And then, guys, I'm going to have to do this again tomorrow because we still have the rest of the fucking cease and desist letter to go through. We have Bad Empanadas responding. We have Mike from PA. Might skip that part, to be honest. Responding to Hassan. We have Hassan's merch. And then we have to like go through Hassan's response to this shit. It's so much crap.
I hope we do, And recently there were like these anti-Hamas protests, and I looked at that. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And immediately when I go onto like a lot of these guys' streams, it's downplaying it. It's like, this is just Israeli propaganda. I'm like,
Oh yeah. The anti-Hamas protests. So we did a bit of research on this yesterday. Yes, there were anti-Hamas elements within the protests, and for good reason. I mean, Hamas is the ruling government, but during an ongoing genocide, why would you not protest their government and be like, can you stop doing this? But there's also a prevailing knowledge that Israel is the main perpetrator of this genocide, and that's what the protest was first and foremost about. If you look up any articles about this protest, they're like, these anti-Hamas protesters are chanting, we will not die, we need food, we are still here. It's like, that seems like it has nothing to do with Hamas at all. And yes, of course, it's a protest against Israel and a protest against the Western countries that are supporting Israel. And characterizing it as an anti-Hamas protest is Israeli propaganda. That's the end of discussion. It had anti-Hamas elements to the protest, but first and foremost, it was a protest against Israel because Israel is the one genociding them.
How do you achieve peace when you're actually
I got it.
Palestinian and Israel?
This is why it's taken me 3 hours to cover 25 minutes of this shit. Because I like rewind every fucking thing they say.
In my lifetime, before I die, I see peace in the Middle East. Like, I hope that every Palestinian and Israeli gets along. I hope that everyone in that region just gets along. To me, it has never made sense why we couldn't get along. We're all like brothers and sisters of the same Abrahamic tree. We should be able to get along. And I hope we do, And recently there were like these...
It's so weird. This is so weird. He's like, we're all brothers and sisters of the same Abrahamic tree. If it was an Asian person, fuck them. They're like our distant cousin. What are you talking about? Just say they're humans. We're all human. It's a very weird shit that he's doing.
Anti-Hamas protests, and I looked at that. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And immediately when I go onto like a lot of these guys' streams, it's...
So once again, dude, these protests were sparked through a vicious bombing campaign from Israel that killed over 400 Palestinians in like 3 days, and also a complete blockade of any kind of food, water, or other kind of aid going into Gaza. That's what sparked these protests, and Mutahar sees them and is like, that's amazing, that's amazing, oh my god, these protests are amazing. This guy's like a fucking scumbag. But maybe his parsing capabilities just momentarily departed from him. Maybe he just like had a lapse in his parsing judgment. So anyway, he's like, oh, these protests of people being genocided are amazing.
I looked at that. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And immediately when I go onto like a lot of these guys' streams, it's downplaying it. It's like, this is just Israeli propaganda. I'm like,
Yep, it's downplaying it. It's accurately calling it out as a protest against Israel, and people that are characterizing it as a protest against Hamas first and foremost is Israeli propaganda. That is Israeli propaganda. It is. Okay, let's just see where they go.
How do you achieve peace when your actual reaction to any semblance of positivity is to be so cynical and Alex Jones-ish towards it?
Bro, it's called looking up articles about it. It's called reading articles and reading interviews of the protesters. That's what it's called. It's not being cynical and being a conspiracy theorist like Alex Jones. It's called doing research. Holy shit. Okay, let's just look this up really fucking quickly. Gaza protests. First post, this Times magazine. What the anti-Hamas protests in Gaza actually mean. Demonstrations against Hamas erupted on March 25th in the northern Gaza Strip and spread since then to other parts of the territory. 3 common themes can be easily detected in the demands of the demonstrators. The cry for help, a demand to let Gazans live and have access to food, an end to the war and the death, displacement, and the threats of expulsion it creates. And, most notably, a demand for Hamas to step down and leave governance to others. So it's like, these are the demands. These are the demands that this article talked about. This article is framing it as an anti-Hamas protest, okay? What are the demands in the protest? If you read a little bit past the headline, it says, it's a cry for help, a demand to let Gazans live and have access to food. Curious, why would they be protesting against Hamas to say, please let us live as Gazans? I thought Hamas was made up of Gazans, and please let us have access to food. Israel is the one blockading food from entering Gaza. An end to the war and the death. Which, it's not like Hamas has been pursuing a war. Israel has been pursuing the war. Hamas has pursued ceasefires. Israel has violated those ceasefires. Wonder who they're protesting there. Displacement. Is Hamas displacing people from Gaza? No, Israel's displacing people from Gaza. Threats of expulsion it creates. Is Hamas expelling people from Gaza? No, Hamas is telling people in Gaza to stay in their homes because they don't want them to be expelled. Israel wants to expel people from Gaza, and most notably, a demand for Hamas to step down and leave governance to others. That does not seem to be the most notable. That seems to be the one piece of propaganda that Israel can use to show that this is a protest against Hamas when you listed 5 other things that are directly against Israel. Okay, so like literally the first article, even though this article is insane, saying that Israel has no agency and this is a war due to Hamas that Hamas started, even this article accurately describes the purpose of these protests, and all of these purposes are against Israel. All of these purposes are protesting Israel. So like, no, it's not cynical. It's not looking at conspiracy theories. It's called reading articles and doing research.
Right? Like where you can't, like, I'm sorry, in order to make this entire bridge work, every side has to come together and acknowledge their faults and build for a better.
This is my favorite Zionist talking point. In order to come together and have peace, we must acknowledge each other as human beings and come, like, at the end of a sports ball game, go and shake your opponent's hand, wipe off the dirt, even though things might have gotten a little heated between you and your opponents. But at the end of the day, we just need to come together and communicate, and that's the only way we'll have peace. Or Israel can stop bombing Gaza. They can stop ethnically cleansing the West Bank. The United States government can stop sending billions of dollars to Israel in terms of weapon sales. We could do that. But it must be the fucking streamers that are accurately saying that these protests are against Israel and not first and foremost against Hamas. It must be the streamers that are causing this violence to happen because they're not giving a safe place for people to bear their emotions and be vulnerable with each other. These people are so stupid. They're so stupid. He's saying this as student protesters are getting deported, bro. As people who are posting anti-Israel shit are getting deported out of our country. And Mutahar sitting here being like, why can't we just all communicate and get along? We're all brothers and sisters of Abraham. We're all the children of Abraham. He's saying this as students are getting deported for criticizing Israel. He's saying this as the United States Senate is voting to turn down Senator Bernie Sanders' bill blocking billions of dollars to Israel. They're like, a bipartisan Senate vote, turn that shit down. And they're like, nah, fuck off, Sanders. We are sending $8.8 billion more to Israel in terms of weapons. Nah, it's the Palestinians. The leftist content streamers are just, they're not letting people say their truth.
Future, as fucking corny and as hallmarkish as that is to say it, that's the only path to it. And I think I will, if I lose every follower and I lose every bit of my online presence by preaching that, it's worth it, because I don't know if I could live.
It's like, yes, Mutahar, this is so brilliant. No one in the history of humanity has ever come to the conclusion that people must communicate with each other to understand each other. You are truly the second coming of Jesus Christ. Now, let's think, let's go off of what you say. How can we facilitate this communication? Well, maybe we could facilitate it by not deporting the people that are communicating, like student protesters, or not discriminating against people that have posted views critical of Israel and Donald Trump on social media. Maybe we can do that. Maybe, just hear me out. We can stop fucking killing the Palestinians. We can stop killing them, or killing their journalists that are platforming them. Maybe we can give them food so they can eat. Maybe we can give them water, clean water, so they can drink. Maybe, wow, this is a shocking idea. We could give them electricity and internet connection so they have an ability to make their voices heard. Maybe we could do that, Mutahar. Yeah, all of that, your idea is so stunningly brave and novel. I think we should go with it. Now let's come up with the best way on how to implement it. Let's criticize Israel. Let's criticize Israel because Israel is stopping Mutahar's brilliant idea from taking form in our world. It is stopping his idea from manifesting. We should criticize Israel because Israel is standing in the way of Mutahar's idea.
Live with myself and sleep at night and look at my wife and my parents if I sat down and started supporting a terror organization that is being rebranded as a resistance group, when realistically they aren't. Resistance groups are not torturing their people for protesting against them. Insanity right there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be said. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can be a resistance group and torture protesters. You can be an occupier and torture protesters. You can be an imperial power and torture protesters. That's what the United States is doing. That's what Israel's doing. And that's also what Hamas is doing. By the way, even though Hamas has a history of brutally violent crackdowns on dissent and protesting and people they believe is collaborating with Israel, what there hasn't been in this most recent series of protesting is any accounts of Hamas executing people. So yeah, what you can't say is that Hamas is killing their protesters, which is ironically something Ethan said. Hey, Hypercolor, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Everyone, give it up to Hypercolor in the chat. We are so close to finishing this. We're like 2 minutes away.
Noah and Hassan are essentially saying, or I don't know what Noah said about this, but I know what Hassan has said, downplaying it. He's being like, no. The people in Gaza, they're fighting to the end, till every single Gazan is dead. That's what I want. They're like protesting, like, let's just fucking oust Hamas and end this fucking war.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna let this play because I'm tired and I'm ready to end this stream. But suffice to say, everything Ethan's saying, every position that Ethan is ascribing to Hassan here is a lie. Okay, like this is a complete lie.
And Hassan's like, no, fight till the end. Every single man, woman, and child at the fronts for them, so on their behalf.
It's so easy to say that when you're living in like the safest country in the world, you know, like where Hassan lives, and I anytime I'm in like LA, I Airbnb there all the time and shit too, like fucking in Hollywood or whatever. And it is the safest part of the fucking world, right? Like you got the most security. He doesn't have to see even the problems of his own city in that area, right?
Right, yeah.
Like, I mean, you want to see problems in LA, you can drive fucking 10, 15 minutes down to like, I mean, it's funny that he went to Skid Row to give your merch because it's like, it's funny for him, like seeing the worst.
Guys, did you know that Hassan is rich? Did you know that Hassan is lucky because he lives in America? Did you know that if he lived in Palestine, he'd have a worse life? Because if you didn't know that, Mutahar is letting you know. So everyone say thank you to Mutahar for telling us that.
Financially is like a 10-15 minute field trip, you know, and then he gets to go back home. So it's like he gets to live this like really privileged life, and from his home where bombs aren't dropping. Because I have talked with Israeli people, and like it's funny too, because
Other than that, content nuke, am I right? That's the only bomb that was dropped on Hassan and recently. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, I mean, these guys are so fucking stupid. First of all, Hassan never said Palestinians need to fight until they die. That's an insane thing to say. That's what Israel's gonna try to kill them all. That's insane. Like, bro, what Hassan is saying is that there's no amount of Hamas fighters that Israel will kill that will make them stop this genocide. That's the only position Hassan has. And Ethan agreed with that like 3 months ago when he interviewed Lonerbox, but now he completely disagrees with it. Now he's gone full genocidal. So they're taking the position that Hassan says, where he's like, it's actually a genocide, it's not a war, there aren't military targets that Israel's looking for. And Ethan takes that to mean Hassan wants the Palestinians to fight until they're all dead. He wants every man, woman, and child to fight until their last breath. Okay, so that's insane. And then Mutahar picks that up and he runs with it, and he's like, yes, and did you know that Hassan's house isn't being bombed? He's saying this from a very privileged position of not getting bombed. Leave it to Mutahar with the cutting commentary. This is just very refreshing. It's new. I don't know why he doesn't do more political commentary like this, because, man, this is a fresh perspective that I've never heard before.
One thing that I heard was, you know, one of my friends was out for dinner, right, with his wife, and he's like, in Israel they get these ballistic warnings, like their Amber Alerts on their phone, and they're out for dinner and they see it, and it's almost like they don't really even respond.
Oh, so he has a friend in Israel? Okay.
Respond to it. It's like weird. And then I think, as bad as that is, you know, the other side doesn't even have fucking Amber Alerts. Like, they're just getting.
I mean, bro, the only way this makes any sense is if these two fuckers are blaming Hamas for the genocide that Israel's doing, or for the war that they're doing. Because, once again, they say, let's get them peace. That implies they're at war. Not, let's stop this genocide, which is a more accurate statement to say. They're like, let's get them peace. It implies they're at war. It implies that their side is at fault. And if only Hamas did a different tact in this war, then the Palestinians could finally be at peace. It's all Hamas's fault. And this is why Noah Klein is saying these guys are genocide defenders. Wait, did I say Noah Klein? Fuck it. Ethan Klein is Noah's daddy now. It's Noah Klein.
Like, I saw a photo from Palestinian in the month of Ramadan, this family eating in like a fucking, like their apartment was like bombed the fuck open, you know? And like everyone was talking about like, oh, what if the hinges break? I'm like, I don't think they're at a point where they even care if the fucking building collapses on them, you know? Like, it's depressing, it's sad. It's, when we talk about the reality of it, it's not something that, you know, you want it to end. You know, it's not a team sport. It's not like who's right or who's wrong. We're playing the weird semantic game. We should be looking for a peaceful solution, and we should be looking for it as fast as we can, because there have been tons of people that have been dying there.
Cue Mutahar saying a bunch of meaningless drivel. Mutahar gives AI credit, because with people like Mutahar, AI is indistinguishable from actual like political commentary.
Collapses on him, you know, like it's depressing, it's sad. Partner was like bombed the fuck open, you know, and like
so fucked up.
Like, I saw a photo from Palestinian in the month of Ramadan, this family eating in like a fucking, like their apartment was like bombed the fuck open, you know? And like everyone was talking about like, oh, what if the hinges break? I'm like, I don't think they're at a point where they even care if the fucking building collapses on them, you know? Like, it's depressing, it's sad. It's, when we talk about the reality of it, it's not something that, you know, you want it to end. You know, it's not a team sport. It's not like who's right or who's wrong. We're playing the weird semantic game. We should be looking for a peaceful solution, and we should be looking for it as fast as we can, because there have been tons of people that have been dying there, and it should have.
I love how they're like, we should be looking for a peaceful solution, but the solution is never peace for them. They're like, this is horrible, it must stop, we need to find a peaceful solution for this. And it's like, okay, well, they're dying because Israel's bombing them and starving them, and these guys like Mutahar and Ethan Klein, their solution is never, let's have Israel stop bombing and starving them. Like, literally creating peace, which would be like, there's an issue, there's like a downward pressure on these people, and they're like, instead we need to find a way to alleviate this downward pressure. We must have the thing drop even lower. Instead of, let's just get rid of the downward pressure. It's always, we must find a peaceful solution. But the solution is not peace. It's not Israel stopping attacking. That's never the solution for these guys.
Stopped a year. It should have stopped decades ago, but it hasn't. And it's also funny too how, like, anytime they bring up this genocide, it's like, you've been like Hassan said, it was quiet for a year. I'm like, dude, this genocide's been going on for decades. And by the way, this is not the only like genocide of people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. However, after October 7th, Israel's like, okay, let's do the final solution on these people. Just like how the Jews in Nazi Germany, or in Germany, have been persecuted for centuries, right? Before Hitler came to power. But once Hitler got to power, it got kicked up into another gear, and they were actually started to doing this on a large scale of factorizing, getting rid of all of these people. Like, they put it onto an industrial scale to exterminate the population. That's what Israel's doing. They always thought they could just keep them secluded in Gaza and not worry about them, just keep them under their thumb, and now they're like, all right, let's just fucking kill all of them. Wow, you say I've been quiet for a year? Turns out I've been actually quiet about this shit for decades. That's making your position worse, Mutahar. You're like, you say I haven't talked about this for a year, but actually I've known about these inhumanities for decades, and I've been quiet about it. So how about that, Hassan?
And it should have stopped a year. It should have stopped decades ago, but it hasn't. And it's also funny too how, like, anytime they bring up this genocide, it's like,
and it's like, what should have stopped? What should have stopped? Israel's treatment of Palestinians. That's what he's saying, but he can't say it. He can't say it.
You've been, like Hassan said, it was quiet for a year. I'm like, dude, this genocide's been going on for decades. And by the way, this is not the only genocide of people going on. I've never seen Hassan talk about the Muslim people in China positively. I've never seen him talk about Muslim Indians.
Yeah.
I've never seen him talk about Muslim Indian people, like my people back home in India. Let me tell you right now, dude, we're second-class citizens. I might even have my nationality complete.
I can't get over that. Mutahar's like, wow, you say I've been silent about this genocide for a year? I actually have known about this for decades, and I've been silent about it the entire time. Checkmate, Hassan.
Completely removed.
And then cue there's other things going on there's other things going on in the world I don't see you talking about. Hassan, he does talk about this stuff. Let's just repeat this line that I've been saying forever. When our country is sending billions of dollars to Israel to facilitate a genocide, that is more pressing, and we have more agency to deal with this genocide than we do to get China to stop genociding its Muslim population, to get India to stop genociding its Muslim population. We have more agency to stop this than we do to stop Rwanda from genociding people in Congo. We have agency here, and our country is directly responsible for this. Yes, let's stop all of the genocides. That is a great idea to talk about. But first, let's stop the genocide that we are funding.
I'm ethnically Indian as possible. Indian Muslims, fucking total second.
Yeah, also Hassan has covered all of this shit.
Second class group. Never seen him talk about that at all. I don't even think he cares much about Indian people, to be fair. I've heard him on camera say a certain slur. And then you've got Sudan, you've got all these areas where things are going on, but
oh my god. Chekhov's seagull, I am the ultimate parser. Mutahar, the ultimate parser, parsing through all of the different genocides of the world. Why hasn't Hassan spoken up about this? You say, I have been silent about a genocide for a year. I am the ultimate parser. I've known about it for decades and I haven't said anything.
they're hyper fixating on this, especially not because I think they care about the Palestinian people or the Israeli people. It's just because it is how you grift right now.
Yeah, cue the line. People that are speaking out against Israel are grifters. Say the line, Muta. I mean, guys, I've spent this entire stream talking about how there's a brutal crackdown of anti-Israel speech, of criticizing the U.S. government. And Mutahar says, people that are speaking out about Israel are grifting.
Now, you know,
It's
he called out
juicy,
the fact
yeah.
that he called out the fact that I got 1 million views on my video and I got like AdSense out of it, which is, you know what, I will personally say this to Hassan, okay? I will give every single dollar of that, you know, video away, which I don't even think it made anything because it got fucking demonetized because of the topic. But I'll.
You just said you got AdSense from it, but whatever.
Like, but you've also got to give away like because of the topic. But I'll do like, but you've also got to give away like a year and a half of your salary at this point because this is what you've been doing for the last year. You've been grifting off of these dead children.
These guys are like booming. Like it's funny. They go,
what are you, bro? Within the fucking sentence, he's saying, you've been grifting off of these dead children. Just take a step back, write it down, write the sentence down, reflect about it. You've been grifting off of these dead children. Okay, you refers to Hassan, have been refers to what Hassan has been doing in the last like year and a half since October 7th. Grifting, that means that he is knowingly holding a position that he doesn't really believe in and he's doing it for internet clout. And it's like a position that Hassan wouldn't really believe in. Off of these, so he's about to say what Hassan's been grifting off of, what has been the source of the grift, dead children. It's like a fucking joke. It's a joke where the setup is the beginning of the sentence and the punchline is the end of the sentence. Mutahar is like, this is such a serious thing. How can you grift off of a serious thing? Like, people actually genuinely believe in this, but if anyone speaks out about it, I'm going to say that they're grifting, which implies they don't genuinely believe in it. You're like, this is the most serious subject you can possibly think of, and people actually care seriously about it. I seriously care about this issue. And when you have spent your entire like career in the last 16 months talking about this issue, it must be because you don't care about the issue seriously. It's a fucking ridiculous like mental gymnastics sentence. It's like a fucking 6-word sentence. And within that sense, within those 6 words, you just have all of these flips and tumbles of things that don't make any sense. You've been grifting off of these dead children. It's so funny to me that he's like, this is so serious. I couldn't understand how anyone grifts off of it. I have sincerely held beliefs about dead children. But when Hassan spends his career talking about these dead children, that must mean that he doesn't have these sincerely held beliefs. I sincerely believe, I sincerely care about them because I don't talk about them. But Hassan does talk about them, which must mean that he doesn't care about them.
Noah said the anti-Ethan industrial complex is booming, so everybody should be making videos. It's like that the pro-Palestine industry is booming, and like Hassan is riding that wave big time, man. He is loving it.
Wow, almost like people support you when you speak up about things that are correct.
He's doing sponsored streams, bro. He's doing sponsored streams for fucking Disney-owned games.
He did a sponsor stream from like a Ubisoft title. He did 2, like one for Rainbow Six and one for that Assassin's Creed. And it's like, I find it funny how a company that is going through like some sexual like misconduct hearings and its upper staff, you're gonna take like you don't have to take sponsorships. Like
nope.
To give the audience watching, we can say no to a sponsor. We're all at that level, me, you, and Hassan, where we can just say no. We're not going to sign on with you.
Yep.
He has the option. He's still decided to go down that road, and he's like, "What? People don't take."
I love how they're like, "You have sponsors," when Hassan is notoriously one of the only content creators on the internet that doesn't accept sponsors. Like, Ethan has a fucking sponsorship in this video. Let's see, where is it? I think it's like after Mutahar. Bathroom breaks in donos. Bad empanada responds. Yeah, right here. Sundaysfordogs.com.
Gaming sponsorships. I'm like, yeah, people do, but you're
like, we could, like, anyone could make this argument about anything. Wow, Mutahar and Ethan are speaking up about anti-Semitism. Ethan's profiting off of anti-Semitism. I can't believe it. He's even doing sponsors when he's talking about anti-Semitism.
politically knowledgeable about this topic. I don't know why you decided to throw your hat into the ring, but I guess we can just say no. We're not going to sign on with you.
Yep.
He has the option. He's still decided to go down that road. And he's like, what? People don't take gaming sponsorships? I'm like, yeah, people do. But you're politically knowledgeable about this topic. I don't know why you decided to throw your hat into the ring. But I guess I know. I mean, private jets don't pay for themselves, right?
No, sir. Those Gucci shirts sure don't come with a cheap price tag.
So now Hassan has a private jet?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's getting them on the real.
No.
You find really good deals there, by the way, if anyone's wondering. All right. Well, listen, I think is there anything else you wanna say? I think we've covered it, and I think that I'm extremely grateful that you're I
mean, bro, they spent like fucking 2 seconds talking about Noah Samsen, and then they've just been like attacking Hassan and other and other people and other leftists that are too pro-Palestinian. Why aren't they giving Israeli voices room to breathe? Why aren't they letting people just communicate with each other?
Coming down this with us together, and I think it's a good thing that a Jew and a Muslim are together standing up for what's right against just it's beautiful, man.
I mean, honestly, it's like it's funny too, because like the more I kind of think about it, like we started off with a beef, and now like years later, we're on a fucking like legal work together, defending we're just stopping shitty defamation from happening. It's fucking insane. It's but yeah, no, thank you for letting me on, man. It's been highly appreciated, and thanks for like letting me in on this lawsuit as well too, because I really do think this kind of shit needs to be spoken about. I hope that. And it's very helpful.
Yeah, maybe you should have spoken about it then, instead of just like, oh yeah, and actually Noah Samsen is completely puppeted by Hassan.
Me that some people like actually get the true facts out of, even though we had to bring up actual legal cases and we had to start a legal case, we had to start legal proceedings, we have to talk about this in the first place. Hopefully people learn from it, and I'm just kind of tired of fucking blatant misinformation on every angle here.
Yeah.
You didn't discuss any of the claims Noah Samsen made about you. In fact, you guys did more genocide defending in this conversation than in any of the clips Noah Samsen had of you guys.
Well, unfortunately, they put us in a position where we have nothing to lose. So this is all we've got. So anyway, Some Ordinary Gamer, Mutahar, check. He's on YouTube.
He's not even saying his name correctly. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it. This has been going for 3.5 hours. Holy shit. And this conversation was, what, 55 to 120 to an hour 26? That's like literally a 30-minute long conversation. It took me 3.5 hours to get through. Ugh. All right. Guys, thanks for everyone that participated in the stream. Thank you for all of the super chats and gifted subs. We still have a lot to cover, but it's just getting worse. It's getting worse every day. And for people that are like, oh, I'm gonna record you and send it to Ethan Klein, yeah, go ahead and do it. Anyway, guys, talk to you later. Thanks for participating, and I'll be back hopefully tomorrow, and we can finish this up. See ya.